Hey Bryce, mate, do you have a Pikachu you could trade me?
I do not, but I do have this Pichu. All you would have to do is level it with some love and it will evolve.
I don't think I could make that commitment right now.
What?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, the Nintendo podcast where the doors are always open. This is episode 29. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Bryce DeWitt.
Yay!
Yeah, you're not lovely this week either, Bryce, I'm sorry to say.
Well, see, yeah, this all comes back on you and talking about how you'd either treat me like shit or be really nice depending on the week, and you were going to alternate, but now you've just depressed me.
I'm sorry, mate. Anyway, this week we're talking all about the Pokémon series, our memories, and whatnot with the series. Yep,
and we'll go bit by bit between each gen. Maybe talk about the anime a little bit.
I'd love to talk about the anime.
Mm-hmm. And maybe some trickles into the TCG if you're that interested.
A little bit.
Yeah,
it's probably the aspect of Pokemon I haven't touched the most out of everything. But
no, but I still had cool memories and stuff.
I always got them just for the art.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, was it last year? No, 2015. I actually bought like
a whole chunk.
Like I spent like $200 on Pokemon cards.
Oh yeah,
because I just had that Pokemon Go, man. That just had me.
Oh yeah. Had you cycling? You're like, oh boy,
because
I want to get involved.
I got sick of Pokemon Go quick, but I went back to the games and everything. Like
yeah.
It was my crack for a bit. Anyway, when did you start? What was your first experience with Pokemon?
When I was 5.
With your 5, yeah?
Yeah, watched it on Oster, I think.
Yeah.
At the time. And then I got super invested from there. Watched it whenever I could. It's always on after school or whatever.
So you watched the anime before you played the games?
Oh, yeah. Because at the time the anime came out, the only games that were out were red and blue and yellow. But the thing is at the time as well, I was also a kid that was consoleless.
Yeah.
I really wanted a Game Boy, but I never got one. I never got a Game Boy. So, kind of tore that down for me.
I remember, I forgot where we were, but we were in a motel room with Ozstar, and it had Pokemon on it. I remember I fell in love with the cartoons straight away.
Oh, yeah.
And from there, I just watched the cartoons, got them on video, watched them all the time. I only had like certain episodes, so I never actually, when I was a kid, I never watched the whole series.
Yeah, not all the way through. No.
Yeah, because you only had you might have had your 5 videos and it had 3 episodes each, and they might not even be following on from one another.
Yeah, you kind of just watch them.
Yeah, you just watch them again and again.
But the anime was also good like that because it didn't really rely on what happened in the previous episode most of the time.
Yeah,
most of the time. Like I say that in parentheses. It kind of had their own individual stories and whatever. Like they had a plot there. It was like, oh, Ash is going to friggin' Eureka City or some shit from Johto, and
and it does a good job of catching up. Like they're doing this because of that, and yeah. Like most episodes, they've got like you meet a new person and you help them, and that's the end of the episode, and they literally walk off into the forest. It's like cool.
Yeah, it's like they've continued on their journey and. Yeah. Remember that old narrator?
Yeah. Last time on... No, I can't do it.
Ash and his friends.
He's good old... Yeah.
He's like his good old buddy Pikachu. Jesus Christ.
No. But, I didn't even know there were games when I was 5 years old or whatever. I didn't know there were Pokemon games until about year 3 at school, so that's 9?
Yeah, or 8.
No, I think it was 9.
8 going into 9 for us.
Yeah. So, like, my first experience was basically my friends were like, oh, you're going to get the new Pokemon games, which at the time were Ruby and Sapphire. And I'm like, yeah. I had no idea what the hell they were on about. I don't think I even knew what a Game Boy was.
There's a Pokemon game?
Pokemon?
Oh, dear.
That cartoon.
I've been missing out all this time.
Yeah, and ever since getting those... ever since getting Ruby and Sapphire, Pokemon's been like my favourite thing.
Yeah,
like,
to go back to.
Yeah. Well, not even go back to. I haven't really stopped.
Well, I mean, we talked about it several times, but At the moment, I think I'd rather go back to the older games.
Mm.
You know?
Okay, we won't talk. We'll put it in chronological order.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think the anime is actually in a good place at the moment.
Mm.
Sun and Moon, the Sun and Moon anime, despite like when the previews started coming out and everybody was like, "Oh my god, this
it's just a completely different animation style.
It looks completely different." Yeah. Please,
which different isn't bad. It's just it kind of looked really.
Oh, it was
goofy.
It was
quite goofy.
Goofy as hell, and it was pretty serious like the season prior.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
with Greninja and
which a lot of people seem to enjoy. That's probably where the yeah.
I mean, Elaine and the Mega Charizard and the soul bonded Greninja or whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
It was kind of a big deal, and I like the whole what's his face Zygarde arc.
Yeah.
In general, in the anime was actually pretty solid. It was all right. Mm. I watched a bunch of episodes in that series, and yeah, it was worth the time.
Do you think sort of the newer stuff, the X and Y stuff, was better than the original stuff? Season 1, 2, 3?
Well, I mean, yes and no, I guess. The issue with Pokemon as it went on, I think, is like the first couple of seasons of Pokemon was more or less just Ash getting into shit with Team Rocket.
Yeah.
Like there was not much else to it, and then he'd have a complication when he hit a gym or something like that. The only time there was a super sense of urgency, from what I can remember in the first season, was like when he was versing Surge and Pikachu couldn't do it, and Pikachu was like hospitalized and all this like crazy crap you wouldn't expect from Pokemon, I guess.
Mm.
And then that was kind of a big thing, and it kind of introduced like audiences who were watching it at the time to like the risk of Pokemon being injured and all that stuff. I mean, not that the first episode didn't do that, but it was in a completely different way.
Yeah.
And then from there it was basically just wait until the tournament arc, and then everybody.
Because early on in season 1, there was some really touching moments, like episode 1, where Pikachu hates Ash, but then it almost dies, so then it loves him.
And then they remade it into the new movie, which is I still haven't watched yet.
I haven't watched that either. Yeah.
No, where Pikachu's talking, and she's like, "It's because."
Yeah. For people who don't know, they pretty much but they condensed a bit of season 1 into a movie.
Yeah, but for some reason got rid of Misty and Brock, and it's really strange. Anyway, yes.
Yeah, I don't know why they've done that. I don't know the reasoning.
Well, one of them's Cynthia's daughter, and it doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, anyway, but yeah.
And there's a bit where Pikachu comes off the bike and hurts himself, and it sort of talks to Ash. I don't think does it use I can't think of the word.
Telepathy.
Yeah, telepathy.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, we have to watch the movie. We can't.
I've got zero context, but at the same time, it's still weird.
Yeah. It's
still so strange. There was that viral clip going around to people in the cinema, and just all of them were just like, "What the fuck?" Because it was just what
the whole cinema just like gasps, like, "What?"
Like, yeah, it. I mean, to me, I feel like that's probably not necessary. The only thing that ever should talk is probably legendary Pokemon and Meowth, I guess.
Mm.
And
they sort of use Meowth as a tool in the anime to sort of
give excuses to why the talking Pokemon could exist.
Well, they sort of use Meowth as like, how do we make people understand what the Pokemon are saying when they just use him as a translator almost?
No, yeah, he's a conduit.
Yeah,
but oh.
But
oh
well, fuck Meowth.
Yeah, Meowth is Meowth. But going on though, like it was such a transitional change into Sun and Moon, and I reckon I enjoy the anime better than I do the games, which is the first time I can say that in a long time.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I want to bring the bit where Butterfree gets let free by Ash.
Emotional times.
Yeah. Miss Ali Hart from the Hungry Games podcast, she says, "Nothing makes me cry except for the episode Bye Bye Butterfree."
Yeah.
That was a hard, like, especially when it does that flashback of him catching Caterpie and Caterpie having that little campfire with Pikachu. It
was such an emotional journey because I really liked that Caterpie, and I remember I got that Caterpie as a stuffed toy in a show bag.
Yeah, so did I. Yeah,
and I was just like, this was around the time before Bye Bye Butterfree was like the one of the episodes that sort of come up on whatever I was watching it on, and then when I saw it, I was like, no.
Caterpie used to be my favourite Pokemon for a while.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because I had that, got a show bag, and you got like a Pokeball with a random plush doll in it.
Yeah.
And both of us obviously got the Caterpie.
Yeah.
I used to bring it to school all the time.
Oh, yeah.
I used to love it.
Yeah, it was great. It was fantastic.
Someone else got a Gengar. So that's sort of a bit rough, really. Like, they give it Caterpies or Gengar. I don't know what else there were. Only sort of...
Saw those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not sure either, but all I know is I was attached to that Caterpie, and that's the way it was.
I had that cup for ages. You got the little plastic cups.
Yeah.
Had them till like last year where it finally cracked.
Because
I put hot water in it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, no. It's just devastating.
Oh.
Yeah. So the anime, like season 1 till probably... is it season 3 or 4, which is advanced, where it goes to the Hoenn region?
Yeah.
That for me is where, at the end of that season, is where it sort of went off the rails. Because with season 1, it was a continuing story. Season 2, they went to the Orange Islands. Throughout Johto, it's continuing. Then like it builds up to the Pokemon League, where it really is like an epic battle. And you can see Ash has learned things.
Yeah.
But since after Hoenn, they changed the voice actors, and that sort of lost a bit of the, I guess, childhood charm you have for the show, as well as just they reset it every season.
Yeah, they do.
So they're catering more for like there's a new wave of kids coming in, so they just reset the seasons.
Pikachu loses everything.
Yeah, but Pikachu loses to a starter Pokemon, which is just so. If you've been following the series since it started, that's like how that is not. That
is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's like literally their first battle, like they choose a starter Pokemon and they lose. It's like
I think the biggest problem with the Pokemon anime, especially in the earlier seasons or like up until midway, was that they had a serious continuity problem. Where, again, like you said, they had to reset. So what does Pikachu do? Just starts fucking losing really stupid battles. You think he would just
annihilate.
Just
click his fingers and it just like obliterates them.
Yeah, just some stupid crap. But no, he just gets knocked out, and then like you get like all this importance on legendary Pokemon, but then you've got this idiot that has like a Latios and a Darkrai in his team. Out of nowhere in the Pokemon League.
In the Diamond and Pearl arc.
In the Diamond and Pearl arc. I was just like, what? Why? Half his team is legendary Pokemon.
I mean, it is kind of cool to see them in the show.
Yeah, but
why does he have them? Yeah, well.
Standard tournament rules. Wouldn't you think that like they would ban that thing?
Get into the nitty gritty. Just hang on. They would ban Darkrai. He is OP.
Well, no, because
hasn't he checked the Smogon list?
The worst part is these Pokemon are supposed to be unique, and provided if they were not unique in anime canon, nobody else has them. So how do they know? They're just like, Latios is perfectly legal. We see them all the time. It's like, okay.
To be fair, Latios and Latias are legal in like the battle faculties in the game.
Fine. Yeah. But that does not excuse Darkrai, the being that haunts nightmares and is just what?
I don't know. I think the people who made the show are just like, we don't care. We
want to put them in.
I guess they're just thinking like something different. Like, all right, so we've made Ash lose really bad in the first season. In the second season, he is so close. It's not funny. Like, it was literally could have went either way.
Oh yeah, when he was versing Richie.
And I can't remember Hoenn. Don't happen there. Yeah, but then they're like, what are we going to do this time? Just add in.
Hoenn, he lost to Harrison, who had Blaziken. That's when we got our first look at Hoenn Pokemon. Oh wait, no, sorry.
That was Johto.
Johto.
Yeah.
Shit.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I can't remember either. That's surprising because I thought I did. Anyway, continue.
I can't remember what I was talking about now.
We were talking about like how he's had a different way to lose each time.
Yeah, so that time they're just like, he's like in Diamond and Pearl, his team was looking really good.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, so they had to be like, we're not going to make him win because that's sort of what's he going to do? So they just chuck in.
God forbid Ash Ketchum wins. Anyway, continue.
Someone just comes in with God Pokemon. It's like, well, Ash. I can just imagine Ash like, come on, just cut me a fucking break, guys. I've got the best team I've ever had. Charizard came back for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
And he's still
lost.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen?
Yeah.
And then in like iterating into on X and Y, he was also doing really freaking well. He had stuff like a Gudra, Greninja, and like a pretty solid team, to be completely honest. He has a really good battle with Elaine. But then he loses with his Greninja against a Charizard Y, is it? Or X? The black one.
The black one's X, yeah.
Yeah. So he lost something that...
Yeah. See, I stopped following the anime closely, sort of.
I watched that episode purely because I was like, this is going to be good, because I watched the entry point of the X and Y anime, and that's when Froakie was introduced pretty much immediately.
I watched like the last few episodes of X and Y. That was really good.
Yeah.
That was good.
It was really good. The battle was super awesome, and it was fantastic. It was like a massive shonen moment almost, but then...
And it's really surprising too, because like the animation just in that season really stepped it up, and
it did.
The storyboard didn't rely on Team Rocket every episode, which was good.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like as much as I said I love season 1, obviously that becomes very tiring.
It was a season of growth for the most part, which was the best part about it. I'm just so fucking salty that somehow he lost to Elaine after all that. and then we had another fucking Charizard moment, farewell Charizard moment, where like Greninja's just like they go to a forest, and then like a Zygarde Cell's like, we need you to be here just in case this ever happens again, and then Ash is like, see you, bunny. And you're like, you gotta be kidding me. You and this Pokemon, you've literally soul bonded and did friggin' mega evolution in a way that nobody had ever managed to pull it off before.
And he won't be as strong without Ash there either, so he won't be able to save Zygarde.
Like, what the fuck? Why does it always have to come to that? It's like, go to the Charific Valley, it's like, oh, you'll be happier here. Butterfree, bye-bye Butterfree, oh, you'll be happier with your mate. That one was fair.
Yeah.
That was fine. Okay.
That's why it was so emotional, that bit, because it's like, it's sad that he's going, but at the same time...
He has to choose, and
it gives you... Like, when you're a kid, it's like, not everything is how you want it, but...
Well, especially the concept of love back then. The concept of love was just kind of like, when you're a kid, you're just like, eh.
Well, at that stage, I was like, ooh, don't step on the lines, or you got a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Then, like, a couple of years later, you're just, like, rolling on all those lines, like, oh, give me all the girlfriends.
But you look at that episode, and it was still emotional. You're kind of just like, this is what love is. It's 2 butterflies.
It is too. One's pink.
It's
not even shiny. Shiny Butterfree, isn't it? Like a light green.
Yeah, something like that. Or like a greeny shade. Or it's really strange.
Kind of surprised that they really missed the opportunity making it pink.
They missed a massive opportunity.
They did.
But the thing is that was a one-of-a-kind Pokemon that Ash could have caught, and he did not do it.
He didn't even think about it.
No, he was just like, you could come with us, and I don't have to lose my Butterfree.
Oh my god. No, because they had to go off somewhere.
They could still do that.
No, they had to go off somewhere. The whole herd, or whatever you call.
They didn't have to.
Yes, they did.
Well, they did, but Ash's Butterfree didn't. Do you think every fucking trainer that had a Butterfree was just like, we're releasing our Butterfree so they can go on, mate?
No.
But
not everyone is as in touch with his feelings as Ash Ketchum.
Yeah.
Ash Ketchum, he loves Pokemon. He's not there just for the battles. He's a man that I respect very much, even though he never aged. He was older than me when I started watching Pokemon. And now I'm 23 and he's still 10. I don't know how that works.
You're over double his age now, boy.
Same with Bart Simpson. I don't know what's going on.
Don't have a cow, man.
Don't have a cow. Let's move on to the games, Bryce.
Yeah, let's do that.
Gen 1. Did you play these when they were like...
Yep.
The only ones, yep.
Mm-hmm.
See, I went back to Gen 1, because obviously I started with Ruby and Sapphire, like I said.
Yep.
And went back to Gen 1 a few years later. And when you're a kid, it is hard to like go back to the old sprites. So when I was a kid, it was hard to enjoy. And obviously Fire Red Leaf Green come out, and I played Gen 1 that way.
Yeah, and it was,
which is the way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you want to do it now, do it that way.
Yeah.
And when it came out on 3DS, I played it there. Played yellow version there.
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yep.
Which is good.
And Yellow had the great sprites.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
Yeah. As I said, when I was a kid, it's sort of hard to go back to the old music, old sprites.
Yeah.
But when you go back to it now, it's nice. Sort of just go right back to really, really like the basics. So just go through the game without natures or like EV or IV values, or like, as much as I love those things and I think they're important, I don't want them to go. It is nice just to go back to real basics.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Gen 1 was a real ride for me. Like a massive ride, because the time I'd gotten around to them, I'd gotten like a Nintendo 64 and I had all that or whatever, and Pokemon Stadium was a thing, and etc. etc. But I always wanted a Game Boy because Pokemon.
Yeah.
Now I did get my hands on Pokemon multiple times because people are just like, yeah, you can borrow my Game Boy in my game. I'm like, cool, and I'd spend so much time playing it. Now the reason it was such a big ride for me is because not only did I restart and finish it so many times, but it was also my major introduction to video game glitches.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
It was massive. And, like, seeing, like, Missing No and, like, the Mew glitch and everything like that, like, geez. I was so curious as to how all that stuff worked. And, I did a bit of research back on it when I was younger, and, it was interesting to see how all this sort of stuff comes about. But it was just... It was such a weird concept when I'd first run into it, because when you're a kid, you look on the internet, you're like, ways to get Mew.
No, there were so many. So many, yeah.
And most of them were useless bullcrap.
Yeah, just there were just two that worked, weren't there?
Yeah, that was the Team Rocket Nugget Bridge, and I can't remember the second one via glitches.
Wasn't it to do with the mansion on Cinnabar Island? Was it there?
No, I don't think so. The mansion is all about trying to clone Ditto. That's how you found out that Ditto was Mew clones.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's what that was all about. That was their testing facility where they tried to clone Mew, but it didn't work out, and it just became a bunch of Dittos. Yeah. Pink blobs of mush. Anyway,
that is really cool, isn't it? Like, like the amount of detail they put into like the bits of lore.
It made sense too, because Mew could learn any move. And so Ditto could transform into anything. It only made sense.
And Mew learns transform as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was such a sort of big thing if you really read into it. But my thing was like the Missing No glitch. It was so interesting. Like some of the things that you could come up with Missing No glitch.
Yep.
Like that was crazy. There was also the early level 100 Pokemon glitch. Where if you manipulated the old man who hadn't had his coffee,
yeah,
when he was actually just really drunk, if you manipulated him in some way, you could actually get a level 100 Pokemon in the first 10 minutes of the game. In Viridian Forest,
there are just so many glitches in this game.
Well, the thing is most Pokemon's values were tied so hard to the actual game's coding.
Yeah,
like if you had a certain Pokemon that had a special stat of 16, you could get something specific to appear if you do this number of steps beforehand. Like that's nuts.
Yeah,
and that was like a big thing. Like again, that was a big thing when I was a kid. Manipulating those values could really come up with some crazy results. And I'm not sure how they managed to do that so bad with Red and Blue, like having like the values of individual Pokemon being such a tie-in to what happens in the game world. But some weird crap really happens with that. You could finish Pokemon Blue in less than 60 seconds. Like you would literally just have to like take a certain amount of steps one way, then whatever hit a certain sign, and I don't know. I can't remember it completely, but you just walk through a bunch of walls. You go to Saffron City for some reason. You run into an Abra, and then you just walk through a door, and then all of a sudden you're at the Hall of Fame.
It's crazy to think of just how sort of mushed up it is behind the scenes of that game.
Yeah, it is.
It's just like I can imagine it's just like full of duct tape and wires just like sparking.
Yeah, it pretty much is. Like Pokemon, like the first generation was just so breakable. But I think that's why it holds a lot in my memory. I don't think it's because the Pokemon designs are any particularly interesting, which is a massive argument nowadays with people. They're just like, Gen 1 is the best generation. But
it's not.
It's not.
Yeah, no.
It absolutely isn't.
Like, we love... Personally, I love every generation to some extent.
Yeah.
But, like, every generation has its faults.
Yeah.
And obviously, Gen 1 is where it really... Well, obviously, the first one's where it really cemented...
Oh, it's nostalgia.
Yeah. But
nothing is perfect about all those Pokemon.
Yeah. Like, a few of the things, like Dragonite having rap.
Yeah.
Just like things like that, where...
It'd be broken.
Yeah, completely breaks it.
Yeah. And just, like, general overall designs of the Pokemon, you hear people talk, like, I don't like Trubbish, it's a bad design. It's just like, so you like your puddle of sludge.
Yeah.
How is that much different? Anyway.
I did like my puddle of sludge. Grimer was a nice man.
I liked Muck too.
Yeah.
I like those Pokemon, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that anything else.
Mm. Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, it's too complicated. So, well, I don't know. Magneton were pretty all over the place with bits and bobs everywhere.
For some reason, they fused together to make one fused brain and have magnets and screws popping out everywhere. That
was the Pokedex. Spot on.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Throughout the episode, I just want to read out responses we got on Twitter.
Yeah.
I went on the House of Mario Twitter account and asked people what their favourite memories of Pokemon were.
And we got a few responses from you lovely people.
And we did. Obviously, we read out Ali Hart's before.
Yeah.
And I'm actually surprised with this one. We got one from Jono Peck.
Oh, Jono. Hey, buddy.
He said, I caught the original 150 in 1999 on Pokemon Blue. I was the only person I knew who did it, even if I did cheat. We all know. We all cheated. Shout out to the Missing No Glitch.
Yeah. The Missing No Glitch, old buddy.
And I actually forgot, when he was on the show, he said he had a Game Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is surprising because he hasn't played Nintendo for years. But even Jono, who doesn't consider him, like, hasn't played many Nintendo games, he's played the shit out of Pokemon.
Well, Pokemon is such a big thing.
Yeah.
You know,
and it goes, like, I think that just proves how far reach this series has.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, it doesn't matter what kind of a background you have in video games. You've probably played a Pokemon game before, and you've probably enjoyed it. It's very rare anybody plays a Pokemon game. It's just like, I friggin' hate Pokemon games. They're awful. They're pretty much your cut and standard RPG.
Yeah,
they really are.
Why I really like Pokemon compared to other RPGs is you can go through the game and you've got so many options of just your team members.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas a lot of RPGs, you don't have quite as much choice.
Well, I mean, it depends on how you view certain RPGs as well, too, though.
Yeah.
Like, the customizability in Pokemon is the actual Pokemon themselves.
Yeah. I know you can do classes and different things in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It depends on how you want to view it in that perspective.
Yeah.
But in saying that, you know, a lot of RPGs have done the same thing. They've used Pokemon-esque elements to sort of introduce something
like Persona and Ni no Kuni
and yeah, hey, even World of Final Fantasy did it too.
Yeah.
And they did it in a really interesting way, which was cool. Yeah. So like the idea of Pokemon really has sort of spun a yarn for many people, many series, I should say, which is fantastic. And it all started with Gen 1.
Yeah.
Which, you know, to whatever degree, the pinnacle of that is awesome. Yeah, it really pushed the genre along.
I really like it how it's got the multiplayer with the trading and battling as well.
Yeah, it still did back in the day, and they were the first games. And they were old, and it was surprising. It was such a big thing.
Did you do any trading in that on Gen 1?
I actually did once or twice.
Did you?
Yeah, and I did a lot in Gen 2.
Yeah. Did you have... we'll move on to Gen 2. Did you have a Game Boy by this time? Or
Nope. I never actually properly owned my own Game Boy.
Until the Game Boy Advance.
Actually, hang on.
So what?
No, that's a lie. I owned one Game Boy, and that was a Game Boy Pocket.
Yeah.
The rest of the Game Boys I had borrowed, basically, and...
Because you had your own copy of Gold, didn't you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
But
is that your childhood copy?
No, I actually had a copy of Crystal given to me, which I played the hell out of. I could not tell you where that copy of Crystal is anymore. It's disappeared, but I know where the Gold cartridge is. I mean, did you go back and play the original second gen or no?
Yeah.
You did?
A couple of times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's my argument with Pokemon is Generation 2 was the absolute definition of how to make a great sequel.
Oh, yeah.
It was the best thing I can think of in any memory of a great sequel. You've got new lands, you've got old places, you go back and all that old story that you once saw was still there in some sort of direction, even if some of it changed, like Cinnabar Island getting burnt to the ground in Gen 2, for example.
I think that's cool, though. Like
that is awesome.
It shows progression of the place you've explored before.
Exactly, and then coming around and then pretty much versing yourself from the previous game, it just brought everything together, and you're just like, holy crap. Because most of the people, especially at that age, were like, I want a team full of starters, like we all did up until like Generation 3. You know, we did that too. We're just like, I want to start the game again, except I want to have all the starters.
Yeah, I did that so many times. Like, you restart it 3 times and get your friends to trade back the Pokemon, yeah.
But it was still like that in Gen 1 as well.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Yellow was such a big thing, and you could have all of them and it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was such a big thing in that perspective, because it was like, well, here's me from the previous game, and he's got a Pikachu, he's got Blastoise, Charizard, Venusaur, for some reason an Espeon, and whatever. At that time, it was like, cool, he has an Espeon, and a Lapras. It's like all these Pokemon that we really liked, and
it was awesome because it had obviously your starter from the games. Then it had because he had a Espeon in the manga. Actually, that's why. Then he had his Pokemon from the anime, so his Lapras and all that. Then he also had the Pokemon, some from the manga. Which, if you haven't read the Pokemon manga...
Oh, and Snorlax too. I forgot about Snorlax. Sorry. Yeah. Anyway, continue.
If you haven't read the Pokemon manga, that is so good.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Pokemon
awesome.
Adventures?
Yeah, Pokemon
Adventures.
It, like, if you're a Pokemon fan and you want a good Pokemon story...
Yeah, you read Pokemon Adventures.
That is the best bar none of everything.
That should have been the anime.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Because it incorporates every generation, and it incorporates every single bit of every generation. Not just like... And I'm talking from like the characters to, even the reboot, like the game reboot characters.
Yeah.
Like how they went in with you had your crystal, and you had gold, and you had silver. But then when Soul Silver Heart Gold came out, you had Soul and Heart as well.
Yeah.
They had their own little side story and stuff like that. It was the best way to enjoy Pokemon stories, in my opinion.
Yeah. Like, one bit what really stands out to me is when he's in the what's the haunted tower called in Kanto? I forgot now.
Violet?
No, that's in Johto. God. L
Lavender Town.
Lavender Town.
Shit.
Yeah.
How did I forget that anyway?
I don't know how I forgot that either, but Lavender Town tower.
They were both shades of purple, like it was close, okay?
Basically, Team Rocket was in there, and his Charmeleon just like slashes through it, an Arbok.
Yeah, it cuts it in half.
Cuts it in half and it dies. It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, some zombie-ass Arbok had died, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Oh, just a lot of things about that were cool. Like, you had the introduction of Blue as well, which was, blue or green, depending on how you're reading it. Mm-hmm. Because in the Japanese version, obviously, Gary is green.
Yeah.
But if you want to go from the NA perspective, you had red, blue, and then you had green, which was the female character that never got put in the games.
Yeah, or yellow here. Yep.
No. Yellow was completely different as well.
No, she was yellow in this.
No. They had red, blue, and green. Green.
Oh yes.
Green was
yes.
Green was an ex-member of Team Rocket.
Yeah. Sorry,
someone.
I thought you jumped forward. Yeah.
Yeah, and then yellow was a young girl.
Yeah, young girl starting off, and then red's like already the
champion at that point.
Already the champion, and he helps her. Like, oh, it's so good. Like,
it is. It's really good, and like having that female personality between red and blue as well was great. She was awesome. She had her Venusaur, and blue had his Blastoise, red had his Charizard, and it was like a trio. Like, they were a trio of badasses in that manga. Yeah. It was so good.
And Team Rocket was actually like really bad.
Oh yeah, they were awful. You know, they're the type of people that would kill with
Yeah,
no remorse.
They were actually trying to kill the protagonists, get them out their way.
Yeah, they didn't want it. Yeah, it was best Pokemon.
I've got to
story.
keep reading them. I've only read the Johto up to the Johto. I need to keep reading through Hoenn and.
Actually, it reminds me at Kmart. I'm pretty sure I saw the books hanging around there. I need to start buying that.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
they're dirt cheap on Amazon too.
They had up to like volume 9 or volume 10 at Kmart recently.
Huh?
Which is pretty good.
Yeah,
can't complain too much. I would really like to own that set, but I would also like that to turn into an anime.
So would I.
But yeah, sort of tracking back to Gen 1, like
Gen 2.
Well, Gen 1, Gen 2.
Yeah.
That manga was a good better representation of anything in that series, and especially in that era where they had Silver, Crystal, Gold, Red, Blue, Green, Yellow. Those protagonists in the manga were so fantastic. The games, going back to Kanto, seeing all that was fantastic. If you read the manga alongside playing the games, like it was almost like it melded together perfect, like in a nice little package. It was so good. Gen 2 was seriously, again, the best example of sequels I could ever mention. It was so good.
It's a shame they've never ever done it again. Like put two lands in one game.
Oh, I remember being so. I mean, I wasn't like devastated. I was like so devastated to the point I wouldn't play them. But I was really upset that I couldn't go back to Johto in Gen 3. That was my heart. My heart
like
beats slowly.
I guess with those two games it does make sense because Johto is literally the same, joined to Kanto.
Absolutely.
Whereas I guess the workaround for these games is they're too far away.
Yeah.
which obviously in game development that doesn't make any difference.
But we're starting to get to the point where a continent being too far away is like saying how far is too far away? Is it like a fucking 2-kilometer jump across the ocean at this point? Because canonically, you've got like the Orange Islands, Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, friggin' Unova.
Yeah, it'll be close to somewhere.
We're running out of continent space here, guys. Like they'd have to be cannected in some way.
Could you imagine the globe in that universe? It's just like
it'd be a mess.
Islands everywhere. Yeah,
it'd be a total mess. Like we're running out of Earth space here.
No, you still got plenty of Earth space, but I could just imagine the globe just being like a big mess, just islands.
Big time. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
Not that that matters, but I could just it's kind of funny to think about.
Pushing on to that though, it'd probably be a good time to talk about Gen 3. And this is your thing, so I'm going to let you spiel for a little bit here.
Spiel?
Go for it.
I love Gen 3. I guess it's just because it was my first Pokemon game, so there's a bit of biasness there, I dare say. But getting this game, this was pretty. Pokemon Sapphire was my first video game. Like I always went to my friend's place, played Mario Kart, Mario 64, whatever's on the PlayStation 2. Usually GTA 3 at that point.
Yeah,
just used to drive around cars. But Pokemon, that was the first game I actually played right through and finished and owned. And it's actually pretty funny. I thought back to this a couple of years ago. I'm like, hold on. The first time I played Sapphire, I chose a Mudkip, and when it learned Water Gun Tackle, I'm like, oh, fantastic. It's actually got some decent attacks now. And it evolved into a Swampert. I never trained anything else. And that Swampert in the Pokemon League still had Tackle, Water Gun, whatever, because I never
paid attention to the details.
Whenever it's like, oh, Swampert wants to learn, I don't know, Muddy Watered. Yes, no. It's like, no, Water Gun's fine. And I think it tried to learn Earthquake. And I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, yep. And I was just like, my jaw just hit the ground when it just like wrecked everything with Earthquake. Yeah. I was like, obviously it's a bit better than Tackle.
Yeah, with how much power you had at that point.
But playing Pokemon, it's awesome how someone like me, when I was like that, can play through it and have fun. Whereas you can also go in and have a very methodical look at a 6-man Pokemon team, like counters and like abilities and how it all works into one another. You can raise them with you can have your natures, so you look into your natures and you make sure you get the right one. You make sure you train it right against the right Pokemon to get the right stat boosts. That's what I really like about Pokemon.
Well, the thing is as well, as I said, that Gen 2 was the greatest way to make a sequel. And I still stand by that, absolutely. But I'm also going to say that Gen 3 was a fantastic follow-up to another fantastic game, a fantastic set. Because, again, like you were saying, with abilities and etc., you also had like invisible stat boosts depending on your natures, your EVs and IVs and stuff like that. It really turned Pokemon into competitive battling.
Yeah. They really did a lot behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, big time.
And that also with just the graphics, it's probably still to this day the biggest jump we've seen for Pokemon.
And coupled with the Frontier, which was the perfect place
in Emerald,
to take those in Emerald obviously, but to take those Pokemon that you've really put thought and decision into, and take them and go and verse something that's humanly challenging, like it's difficult and actually, worth your time. Yeah, I guess
some were just bullshit.
Oh, some were bullshit. Sure, Pyramid was bullshit. We all know that.
Fuck the Pyramid.
Pyramid was bullshit. We all know that. And then Battle Factory was like, well, hey, you don't even get to use your Pokemon, so whatever. Yeah. Sometimes it worked out in your favor, but not all the time, I guess.
Yeah. And it was awesome that the bad guys were actually looking to alter. The stakes were big in this game.
Oh yeah,
you had 2 legendaries that are basically at war, and you've got the 3rd legendary who's looking to break them up, and it was really, really cool.
Yeah,
especially in Emerald, where that story made a bit more sense, where you actually saw both sides.
Yeah,
where's
it's cinematic though. Woo,
it was awesome.
It was great.
Yeah, but in sort of Ruby and Sapphire, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's like you got Kyogre, and Team Aqua is going to raise the sea, so there's no more land and there's more water, and vice versa in Ruby with Team Magma and Groudon. But really, the legendary doesn't do much apart from when you get there. It's like, I'm here, catch me. Really. But in Emerald, the story actually made sense because they were both looking to
They were fighting
do it at
in
the same time.
Cytopolis.
Yeah.
They were fighting in Cytopolis, and I actually felt like a threat.
Yeah.
In Ruby and Sapphire, it's like, I'm a charge in Malaysia.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what the iterations, following that, the reboots did as well. But we'll talk about them as we go on. This generation was also where that started.
Yeah.
Was the rebooting of games. And that's where we got the Gen 1 reboots, Fire Red and Leaf Green.
And they were fantastic.
Yes.
They were... I don't think they would have handled them any better than they did.
No, absolutely
at the time,
not.
Yeah.
The Sevi Islands, that was such good post-game, in my opinion. It felt like Johto all over again, like the Gen 2, Johto and Kanto. Felt like that all over again. Smaller scale, but
definitely,
it was at the same time. It was like this is what I wanted.
Uncharted territory to go and explore.
Yeah, exactly. This is what I wanted to do.
And a lot of the Johto Pokemon who you couldn't obtain in the Ruby and Sapphire were there as well.
Yep.
So that made it feel really exciting to oh my god, it's a bloody Teddy Ursa. So oh my god.
Oh my god, I want to hug it.
I want to hug it. It falls into an Ursa ring, just rips you
in two, shit. I should really watch myself while I'm around wild animals.
And just the fact it came with the adapter, the wireless adapter.
Yeah, that was cool.
And made it wireless. Then, when it was all link cables and everything, that was really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
To get those. And then they work with Emerald.
Mm-hmm.
When that came out eventually too. Yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah. It was truly a solid generation. It's not my favourite, and I think there is small inherent flaws with it. But overall, the experience is probably the best one you could get from Pokemon. In if you were to ask a general audience, I think a lot of people would point back to Gen 3. Gen 2 was it for me, but that's because I had held nostalgia for Gen 1 and I could go back and see all that again. But Gen 3 is where the game changed completely. Competitive Pokemon battle was now possible. They had a really big thought in how to balance all that stuff. Get rid of Rap Dragonite.
Yeah.
That was the real big turn for Pokemon, and I'm glad that generation was how it was. Even if at some points I felt like, I don't know.
At that point, did you have more friends playing Pokemon to get like in a group.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I still remember we're all of us, like there might be 5 of us, we're all looking for Latios or Latias depending on what version we had.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we're all tracking it down. We're all like giving each other advice, like, oh, you need a Pokemon with Mean Eye to lock it in so it can't escape. Or,
Mean Look, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. Or Mean Eye. That's the ability of it holds it in, isn't it?
No. There was Arena Trap.
I don't see Arena Trap with Trapinch.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Arena Trap and Mean Look were the 2 thing. I think you were thinking Keen Eye.
Yeah, I think so.
You've been hunting down way too many seagulls. What the fuck are they called? Wingull.
Yeah, I love Wingull.
They all had Keen Eye. All of them.
And that just memories like that. That's why Latias is one of my favorite Pokemon. Just like,
oh yeah,
like making it really hard to obtain.
Yeah, I mean that was also the mystery in Gen 2 with Raikou, Suicune, and Entei.
Yeah.
And in Crystal, it felt so much bigger when Suicune became the main point.
Yeah.
The main point of interest. It was so cool to see Suicune in that sort of light, for example. And I love Suicune to this day. It's one of my favorite legendary experiences. On top of, Rayquaza coming down in his godly beam of light and go the fuck to sleep, and then they go.
That's it. It's like go home.
Go home. You've had too many. Get the fuck out my bar. Bye.
Yeah, it's just like how they're right in front of the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that's the pub. It's like, so guys, go home. It's like Kyogre's like,
oh, don't want to.
That's actually a pretty funny way of looking at it.
It is.
I tell you what, it'd be really easy just to voice over that clip. Like, oh, mate,
go the fuck to sleep.
Nah,
no.
He took more girl. He kissed my girlfriend.
So moving on, I think, because I think we could go on forever about how Rayquaza's the big daddy in that relationship.
Yeah.
The more controversial topic for me, at least, is Gen 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know a lot of people really like Gen 4, but I'm not really that for it.
Are you talking about just Diamond and Pearl?
Yeah.
You're not talking about Hard Gold?
Hell no.
Yeah,
There's a reason those games are still good in my eyes.
Yeah, because, in other words, you're saying there's problems with Diamond and Pearl Platinum you don't like. It's not the mechanics or...
Oh, absolutely not.
In a working state.
Those are fine. Admittedly, those are fine.
Yeah, I'm just making sure people don't put it all in one thing.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, Diamond and Pearl, I was super excited for this game. Like, obviously, playing the crap out of Gen 3, having my own Game Boy, getting my DS. Just like pretty much how I am now for the Switch version.
yeah.
Just I remember it came out in Japan probably 6 months, if not more, earlier, and you're waiting, and you know all the Pokemon, you know a fair bit just from whatever Cerebi's putting up.
Yeah, and you just want to get your teeth into it.
Yeah, and I had my team planned out. I'm like, I want a Drifblim, I want a Floatzel, I want a Torterra. Like I had it all planned out.
Yeah,
and like I'm just like, I think like for like 6 months when you're a kid feels a lot longer as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're waiting so hard for something like that.
Yeah, and I still remember when I went to get a Pearl version. It was early high school.
Mm-hmm.
So
was it early high school?
Yeah, it's 2008. Okay, or it might. It's either 2008 or 2007. So for me, that would have been first year of high school or last year of primary school. And when I
actually no, it was first year of high school for me, so it was last year of primary school for you.
Yeah, it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was. Yep.
God, that's a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
When you put it that way. And I went to Target, got my copy of Pearl, and there was another kid from school. Mm-hmm. And at that stage of school, you're like, oh no, I don't like Pokemon. I'm not lame. So what I actually did when I saw him, I went and hid the game, so he didn't know I was buying it.
Yeah.
And he went off and I went and bought it, or whatever. Or my mum bought it. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, just thinking back on that, it's so sad. Who gives a
shit? Yeah.
Like if your kid's like, oh, Dad, I don't want. The kids are paying me out for playing Pokemon or Bratz or whatever she'll be into. It's like, do not care what other people think. If you like something, just
Yeah,
Like,
you do your own thing.
especially something as trivial as I like this show or I like this game.
Pokemon's for babies, though, mate.
It's for babies.
Yeah. It's a dumb argument, but yes, continue with your.
That was pretty much it for that. But what I didn't like about Gen 4, which actually I've come back on a bit now, but I really didn't like a lot of the evolutions they've done for like the original Pokemon.
Yeah,
and I know you feel the same.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since the design of them wasn't great, and they also, in the end, didn't do anything for those original Pokemon.
No,
so Tangler, not a useful Pokemon in Gen 1, 2, or 3, but they gave him Evolution Tangrowth, which is just a bigger clump of vines. He looks pretty silly, but
I think they all look pretty silly. Sorry,
they all do look pretty silly, and also Licky for Lickitung.
Mm-hmm.
Lickitung was a useless Pokemon until, but those Pokemon, they're still useless.
They're still
So there really isn't much point.
It's like, hey, we're giving your silly dumb Pokemon a stat boost. Here you go. And you didn't really do much else for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I really like Bronzely, but giving I know they did a lot of this in Gen 2 as well, but giving like Pokemon pre-evolutions is kind of pointless as well.
Yeah.
And the early Pokemon games from Gen 1 to 4 are all responsible for this. I don't think Gen 3 actually did it.
Gen 3?
They didn't do pre-evolutions or they just did original Pokemon.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Which is what I prefer. Like, just like, there's no point being like, oh, it's a new land. Oh, here's, apart from Eevee, that's fine. Because that's sort of how that Pokemon's set up. But yeah, I didn't enjoy a lot of them. But I really did like Porygon 2's evolution, Porygon Z.
Oh yeah.
That one's actually one of my favourite Pokemon.
The thing is I'm not saying that it's completely irredeemable. I think there's really good ones. I think there's like, Honchkrow and again Porygon Z.
Yeah.
But the bad ones far outweigh the good ones.
Did you like Rhyperior?
Rhyperior? Okay, I'm conflicted on Rhyperior because his design's kind of crappy.
Yeah.
But I like having a competitive use for Rhydon or the Rhyhorn line because I think they're kind of badass.
So with how they do that though, they justify a stat boost with an evolution. Do you think they could have just been like, okay, Rhyhorn's strong now,
I mean, or they could have just not made a silly evolution and waited until Gen 5 or something where I don't know. My inherent problem with Gen 4 is
because the problem is there's just so many of them as well. There's like Magneton and
the fucking Magnezone, dude. Like, what the fuck is Magnezone?
Yeah, exactly.
Holy crap!
There's so many of them. Like not nearly all of them, but so many 2 evolution Kanto Pokemon got a third in this generation.
Oh yeah, they did. Absolutely. Okay, so you were talking about obviously Pokemon evolutions. Yeah, that is one of my problems, but I think my other inherent problems with the game where it was too long and it introduced a bunch of new evolution methods for some of these Pokemon and stuff that just didn't really care for. And overall, whatever they seem to add to those new evolutions was near pointless. I think it's kind of like one person did the art direction for all of those new evolutions.
They probably did,
and they're all really weird.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you.
And they're just all really strange. Tangrowth, like think of Tangrowth and Magnezone, for example. They just look like they were made by the same person.
Maybe, yeah.
So somebody took LSD and then they were like, holy crap, I've had a revelation. And then they've just drawn all these old Pokemon with new evolutions and they've just made them all round and smooth and...
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
It's really weird. Look at Licky, for God's sake.
Very round.
Very round, very smooth. Look at Tangrowth. It's gone from like vines sticking out everywhere to like a smooth fucking hippie haircut almost. With the occasional vines through it. And then Magnezone is just like, hey, let's turn Magnemite into a massive clump of metal in the middle. which looks like a UFO, a smoothed out like bloody 40s promotional design for War of the Worlds UFO. Like, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, yeah.
There's something with it. And then, like, some of the newer Pokemon designs as well, at least for me, some of them were kind of like, whatever. Stuff like Driftbloom was fine.
I love Drift. Like, there's a lot of Pokemon which I really like. I really like the starters. I really like...
But Infernape, though.
I like Infernape. So, yeah, I'll get into this, the next generation, but, like, obviously the lots of firefighting starters, that was frustrating.
Of course.
But, yeah, I really liked a lot of the original Gen 4 Pokemon, like, who weren't just based off evolutions or of previous Pokemon. Like, I really liked Floatzel and Driftblim.
Yeah.
Really liked... I can't really remember a whole lot right off my head. But.
Like, there was good designs in it. They had stuff like... something that does frustrate me a little bit was one of the new Pokemon, which was Cherim. So Cherubi and Cherim. Mm-hmm. How Cherim had a different sun... like a sun form. And...
That was cool.
I thought it was cool, but... I prefer the sun form so much that I'd rather just have it like that permanently.
Well, it's a lot stronger, so you just have to work...
You have to work Sunny Day in your kit. I understand that, but just I don't want to have to work Sunny Day into my kit to get that form. You know. But anyway, I'm saying like
it's dangerous because it powers up fire type moves,
which kills it.
Which against grass type isn't great. Yeah.
Yeah. I think my initial point to the matter is that there were designs that I liked. Obviously, there was Lucario. Everybody fucking loves Lucario. Are you kidding me? But Everybody fucking loves Lucario.
Everyone loves Lucario. Are you kidding
Garchomp?
me? Yeah.
Fucking good design, shit like that.
I think Torterra is an excellent Pokemon design.
Torterra is an excellent Pokemon design. And Polyon's typing is really strange.
That's cool, though.
It's cool, I guess. Infernape is my most hated out of the 3 firefighting types, mainly because it's so similar to Blaziken it hurts my fucking eyes.
Yeah.
It's a monkey and a bird, but like literally they're slender fighting types. At least with Emboar, it's like you get a big fucking bulky dude. Anyway, my point on that is fucking Fernape. The legendary trio were underwhelming in my opinion. Uxie, Azelf, and Mesprit. Not sure how much I like them considering like what we've had in the past with...
No, I never really cared about them.
No.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like that as well. You had Deoxys... Deoxys and Jirachi was Gen 3.
Mm-hmm. Shaman and Darkrai.
Shaman and Darkrai.
Yeah. They were cool.
They were cool.
Yeah.
But I think the big problem at the time was distributing these events because we all wanted to get our hands on them at that point.
Especially with the internet.
Especially with the fucking
internet.
And
it was so frustrating because we never got them. How I got them was through illegal means.
Yeah.
Had an R4 and a copy of Diamond, and you could put a Game Shark codes on it through that device.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't have a Game Shark device for the DS, so we didn't put them into our proper game. But
no, yeah.
We'd basically put on a code where you can walk through walls.
Yep.
And to get the Shaman, all you do is walk off the ledge into the sea, and it's about probably, I don't know, just 10 squares above where you can...
It is, yeah.
Like, it's literally just above where you can see at the edge of the land, and you just walk up this thing, and you're there, you battle it.
Mm-hmm.
And Darkrai, how long do you have to walk? It'd be like 20 or 15 minutes just walking in black.
There's actually a glitch involved with that. The coding in Diamond and Pearl was really bad, and if you made quick enough movements on what is essentially the March bike of that game, if you make quick enough movements in certain areas, and if you moved like really quickly, you could actually break areas and it would unload zones, and that was the way to do it legally.
Yeah.
But you could get to Darkrai that way. But you had to make something stupid like a total of like 20,000 steps or something to get to Darkrai.
Was that much? Was
it was insane. It was insane.
I just remember holding up and B for ages.
And the only reason we had to do this is because they didn't give us the damn event.
Yeah.
In Australia.
It's really weird how they just don't... Now it's just like you go to EB Games or you download it.
You pick up a code.
Thank God.
Jesus Christ, yes, thank God. Like it's so frustrating. But I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand. That was probably the pinnacle of like excitement. We're like, when are we getting these? But we never did.
No.
Now they shit them out. They're like, here, have some free Pokemon.
Yeah, just at the moment they've got, you can get level 100 Palkia or Diagla.
That's the other thing.
So why not?
Yeah, but
Why not?
That's the other thing, is they're not exciting anymore either. It's like hey, it's like people are complaining. They're like, hey, we want these things. It's cool.
To be fair, when it is just say those Pokemons, okay, you can just catch them in the current games anyway. But when it's something like Heatran or something which aren't in the games and they distribute them that way, that is still exciting.
No, I'm talking about more or less things like Celebi and Darkrai, Shaman,
okay, so
Deoxys, Jirachis, things that have had events in the past.
So yes, definitely yes. Because in the past it'd be like, you don't get the Pokemon, you get the ticket, and you get
a little story,
and you get to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I think the most exciting and joyful thing in Pokemon is actually exploring, similar to Zelda.
Yeah,
where you're exploring, discovering, you're training so you can beat the thing to get there. That is Pokemon.
Yeah,
and I'm going to get to that point in Gen 7, but we'll leave it until then.
All right,
yeah. All right, so I really like Gen 4.
Yeah, okay.
Like thinking back to it at the time, I'm like, why did they make a Tangler a big thing and whatever? But going back to it, I think it's got a lot of positives.
Well, yeah. My TLDR on it was that there was good Pokemon designs in it, but the games were sluggish. They were really slow.
Oh, we haven't even talked about Heart Gold Soul Silver yet.
Yeah, we better do that too. Those 2-3 games, Platinum improved a bit, but
Platinum improved a lot. It sped up the gameplay.
It did.
It added a bit more. Added the Battle Frontier, like a brand new Battle Frontier, which was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was a good place to explore. But Diamond and Pearl, in their own right, they were just sluggish, slow. The pace was bad. Fucking Mount Coronet was the worst thing invented by. Mount Coronet was developed in a lab by a mad scientist who wanted to make experiments on the human psyche and how they deal with labyrinths. Fuck that man.
Yeah, well,
I hate Mount Coronet. Anyway,
it's like, I need strength. I'm going back. Obviously,
yeah, I need strength. I need Rock Smash. I need to come out of this exit to get to this one. I need to enter from this specific entrance to get up this path to go all the way up to the top of the mountain so I can verse the legendary. But nobody fucking tells me that. You just have to find it. Holy shit!
All right,
Mount Coronet is cancer. Sorry. I hate Mount Coronet.
Heart Gold Soul Silver. I think. Are these the pinnacles of the series?
Pinnacles? No.
No?
No. The only reason I can't call them pinnacles is they're reboots of something that I already loved to begin with. They implemented more, yes.
Yes, but I'm just saying, I would be... Gen 2 isn't my favourite, but I think Gen 2 done the most things right, and having it updated and... The like just the pixel art in especially Heart Gold Soul Silver is stunning. It's so vibrant and pretty. Like I could go back to that. The Pokemon games could still look like that, and I'll be wondering what it looks like in 3D. But it'll still look really nice, I think. But
it does.
Yeah, just having so much to do in those games. You've got 2 regions. You've got Battle Frontier. You've got access to plenty of Pokemon.
The big developable Savari Zone.
Yeah. I think that will keep you entertained for the most time.
It does.
In any Pokemon game.
Yeah, I agree.
And it also... Yeah,
but I'm still not sure I'd call it the pinnacle.
Oh, that's alright. I was just asking.
The only reason I wouldn't call it the pinnacle is because of the following generation, which we'll talk about, and I'll explain why. But for now, we'll roll on it. These are the reboot. I think it's safe to say for at least me, and obviously Drew loves them because he's willing to call them the pinnacle of the series. But Gen 2 was my favorite. Inherently, the reboots of Gen 2 are what I always wanted after seeing Fire Red and Leaf Green, and they were fantastic. They only added more content. It was the way to do a reboot, right?
Yeah.
It was.
Sure. And they added a poker walker, so a device that comes with the games where you can send Pokemon to it and you can walk with them in a little pedometer and they train and get items to send back to the game. See, these days, like, that is a feature they didn't really have to do. No,
they didn't.
But they did it anyway.
And we got something physical for it, like, and for pretty much for free.
Yeah, I don't think it cost... Actually, no, it was $60. It was the same price as a DS game.
Well, yeah, exactly. It came with the game at no extra cost with a nice little box to go around it. That finish on the box was awesome.
Yeah, I've got them both.
Yeah,
on there. That's beautiful boxes. Yeah.
Oh, awesome, absolutely. But the best part about it all, in the end, was that those games were stellar.
Absolutely fantastic.
They were. And they were a great way to do a reboot, and that's just how it was.
I don't have a bad thing to say about those games. I love them so much.
No,
and
Heart Gold and Soul Silver were freaking good Pokemon games.
I played them through in Japanese, loved it, and then when I got my Australian copy, I really worked on a Pokemon team, and this is probably where my affection comes from it, because I really put time and effort into a team.
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely.
Had a kick-ass Tyranitar, Lapras, Heracross. Who else would I have? I can't even remember. But those three especially... like, just kicked ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just favourite Pokemon.
Yeah, because he ended up kicking my fucking ass.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was also at the time that, like, competitive battling still didn't mean too much to me. Like stat training and stuff like that. But after waking up to that, I was like, yeah. But the one, actually, there is that one complaint, and I feel this is because of the Diamond and Pearl trait, but battling felt slower.
Yeah, that would have been just the
and on an already slow game, technically. That, I think that was my major issue with it.
I can't remember it being slow, but it would feel slow, especially after the previous generations where they just made it lightning quick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, it was in out, you were done, sort of, pretty much almost. Like battling was quick. It's in Diamond and Pearl. It did just, like, Gen 4 line of games. It just did feel slower to battle. I'm not sure what it was. It just was. And I think that made the game feel a little smidge too long. But because it's all the content that I already loved, it didn't matter.
I've actually remembered one thing I really don't like about the games.
Okay, go.
Just how much you have to grind, and that's not inherently a bad thing, but also it doesn't give you flexibility with your Pokemon team.
No.
So if you decide that Zubat really isn't performing well, and it's getting its ass kicked, and you've got it to level 30, there really isn't much room to swap it out and bring in a level 15 Pokemon you've caught and you want to train.
No, yeah. That's what I said about when with Diamond and Pearl and it being slow.
It didn't, but Diamond and Pearl didn't have that problem though, where there just wasn't enough experience points to go around.
Yeah, I don't know. It still felt like it to me. I believe I said to you a while ago that my inherent problem with Diamond and Pearl was usually I restart a Pokemon game. I look forward to the next time I play it through with a different team.
Yeah.
With Diamond and Pearl, I restarted it and said, "Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah.
That was Diamond and Pearl's massive problem, and I think that was because, like, it just felt like a waste of time. I felt like I spent so much time on it already.
Yeah.
Like, that's how long those games were. And grinding was a thing in that game. You had to grind. It definitely was a thing. In Gen 2, it was also like that, and that's why it reflects on Heart Gold, Soul Silver. I don't think there was as much in Gen 2, and stats didn't matter as much. I think the problem with Gen 2 was that the battle system itself, because of the changes, leveling up was such an important thing, and, you know, fighting extra Pokemon was a big deal in Gen 4, obviously, because it gave you extra and invisible stats.
Yeah.
Whereas in Gen 2, you got flat stats, and that was it. So it didn't feel like a longer game back then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more of a grinding issue in that sense, in my opinion, because back on your Tyranitar, it kicked my fucking Dragonite's ass because you had properly EV trained it and those stats mattered. My Dragonite was nowhere near properly EV trained, and if it was, it would have kicked your Tyranitar's ass, but it didn't. Because I had no investment in speed, no investment in attack, so I got dropped immediately. But you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Those invisible stats made a world of difference, in my opinion. It elongated the pace of the game.
That actually might be the problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is the thing. Now that I've just had this like brain flash, that makes a whole lot of sense.
I think like you'll be fine. It'll just be if you've got a team and you get it from the very start and you go throughout the game and you're prepared to just do a bit of grinding and a bit of caves and here and there, you'll be fine. But if you want to swap it up a bit, you'll have a hard time.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
Let's talk about Gen 5, Bryce. This is a favourite of yours.
This is a big one for me. I really find this generation hard to distinguish whether it's my favourite or my second favourite between it and Gen 2. Mainly because, and this is the same rap that everybody has for the first set in this generation, Black and White, is that a lot of people didn't like most of the Pokemon designs, I guess, and some of the stuff that was introduced wasn't great and whatever, and a lot of people think the story is kind of just ignorable, but I don't think it is.
I think like especially with these games, like how old were we? Were we 15?
Oh Jesus! When Black 2 White 2 come out, I was living out of home.
Yeah, okay. So
I must. That's
the point where people our age are older and they're not seeing these games through the rose tinted glasses.
Yeah,
as much as we're seeing Gen 3 or even Gen 4. We're still young as anything then. So I think that's a lot of the problem with the Pokemon designs. Because look at like it's like Vanillux. It's an ice cream. It's not that bad. It's just an ice cream. It's a bit weird. It's a bit weird, but it's a living thing. It's just an ice cream or a rubbish bag or whatever. But looking back on Gen 1 too, so there's some weird things in there. There's like a polygonal duck, like Porygon. Like what?
You had a duck with a stick.
Yeah, then you've got like Magnemite, Magneton, like I said, just kind of weird.
Muck, Grimer, Voltorb, Electrode.
Yeah, they'll just like, especially those two. They're just balls.
They're just replica Pokeballs without the button and eyes.
Yeah,
that's what they were marketed as a trap. Because you would click on them and you're like, oh look, it's an item, and then it goes, and then oh shit. Yeah.
So. I really don't have a problem with the Pokemon in Gen 5.
No.
Actually, no. There's those two fighting ones. They're rubbish.
Having Vietnam flashbacks of like when I found a shiny Electrode in the Team Magma base and it exploded on me.
Yeah.
And it was the one right next to the Master Ball. If I picked up that Master Ball, I could have caught it.
Oh yeah.
That was the only shiny I found in Gen 3. Anyway, no, I don't have a problem with the design of Gen 5 stuff either. I think the absolute worst of them, in my opinion, is Cryogonal and Beartic, only because I think Beartic could have been so much more, and Cryogonal, I don't know what the Cryogonal is. It's a giant snowflake with weird things going on.
Yeah.
It's really strange.
That's fine.
Yeah, that is fine. But then you get people who's like, Dradagon looks like a 5-year-old's art project. I'm like, yeah, it does, but it's also bad.
I really don't like those two fighting Pokemon, like I said before.
Throw and Sork.
I really don't like them.
No, nobody does. They're kind of like discount Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, I think, that's a good point. With Gen 5, they did do a lot of that. Just like, oh yeah, we'll do these two again in a different sort of light.
With a different, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you also had like really fucking cool designs in there. You had Lilligant, Leaveney, for example.
Yep, love those two. Yep.
They also had Crocodile, which is probably my favorite Pokemon of all goddamn time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Literally your favorite Pokemon?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so. It used to be Typhlosion.
Yeah.
For the longest time, but Crocodile is damn cool. I really like how Crocodile works as a burst Pokemon, essentially. You give it Moxie, you just send it in town, fucking Earthquake, stab. It gets more powerful every time it kills something.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I love Crocodile. And just like Ash's Crocodile in the anime, always wearing sunnies. What a champ.
Okay.
I don't know, I really love Crocodile. But some of my favourite Pokemon designs have come from that generation. Lilligant and Crocodile are a really big example. I think Cofagrigus is kind of cool, despite how weird he can be. But I like Yamask's Dex entry.
Oh God,
it's so depressing, but so real. It's just like, oh,
was it dead? Just dead people? Or
yeah, it was literally like the souls of people who'd been tormented turned into a Pokemon, and the face they carry around is the face that they'd worn in their previous life. Like that's
nuts.
That's awesome.
Why would you ever want to catch one? That is horrifying.
Well,
it's an actual person.
No,
person's spirit.
I wouldn't say that because like there was I remember there was like an artist comic that I saw the other day that was just like almost the perfect example of like someone of like a situation like if you're reading a dark Pokemon manga, like Yamask would like a Yamask story will go. Trainer catches this Yamask. The Yamask is so confused it remembers its previous life by looking at its face, sort of thing, and then it's just like it's so upset. But like this trainer loves and cares for it. But the person that had turned into this Yamask was actually like the partner of an expeditioner, and she had fell and was left for dead by this partner because they were fighting over a treasure.
Yeah.
And then this Yamask goes on with this trainer, becomes a Cophagrigus, and then this same person does something awful. I can't remember what it was, but like beat the shit out of him or something like that. Like its trainer, and Cophagrigus remembered who the hell it was, and then it just became like a fucking revenge situation where that it's all come full circle. This Cophagrigus is like,
wow,
I get my revenge.
Jesus.
Kill. It is dark, but it's the kind of situation where it's like, you know, when you think of it that way, that has so much meaning. Imagine like all these Yamask that have had terrifying deaths like that, or betrayals or something like that.
So there's a trainer that actually comes along and helps them sort of
like
find peace, essentially.
Essentially, yeah. But then like coming around to it, and then the trainer gets hurt by the same person that had killed her in her previous life, and that was her chance to get back. You know, it come full circle. It was a really good comic. But you know, Yamask aside, you go forward. You got Braviary. Braviary was a good Pokemon. Good old.
God.
Good old U.S. Justice. Soaring Eagle, land of the free, home of the brave type of, you know.
Yeah, that's right, because Gen 5 was the first region based off somewhere apart from Japan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Gen 5 was the US.
Mm-hmm.
Which was cool. Like, the main city was based off New York, so huge skyscrapers and hustle and bustle. And it's sort of the first time the series went sort of 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, just about, yeah.
And we would have talked about this on
the sprites in black and white too. Oh,
pretty cool how they moved.
Yeah.
It's just it did sacrifice just sort of for the movement and animation, just sort of blurriness of the thing, which was fine, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
like that was okay.
They were really pushing boundaries. I feel. But I did mention earlier about like how like a lot of people didn't get attached to the story or whatever, but I thought the story was really damn strong. And I'll talk about it more as we head into the second half of this generation. But it had a Peter-esque message almost in a way, like the bad guys did. I should say.
Yeah. Until. Yeah,
the bad guys did. They were like, well, you can't harm Pokemon and doing it and like training them and making them fight. Like that's animal cruelty almost. But then, you know, Pokemon's. I was gonna wanted to do a skit at the start of this episode, but we didn't really get the time where like it would come back around and we were talking about like the Pokemon Black and Blue, like the old Peter thing. But they just thinking back on it, Black and Blue was about these games.
Black and Blue.
Yeah, Black and Blue, the game that Peter made.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it was based on it was based on Black and White version. I played
it. Yeah,
it was contradictory as shit because the point is that the enemies were pretty much Peter.
Yeah,
so they it's like they paid no attention to the fact that they were almost being parodied.
Yeah,
essentially,
they were 100% being parodied. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Then at the end, they turn out they don't give a fuck about anything. They just want power. and control over people.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I don't know if they knew that when they made that marketing campaign. I don't think they would have, because
No.
it kind of like, it's like, oh yeah, we care, but at the end of the day, no, we don't. We just want power.
Yeah, exactly. We just want to be able to shape whatever the fuck you're doing with yourselves. But the whole point of Pokemon is like you befriend them, you train them, and then they become your partners, and it's their will to fight. You don't have to make them fight. You know, look at Ash Ketchum. He had Pokemon that don't want to fight before. Was he going to force them? No, he didn't.
Yeah. He's a good man, like I said. But with Peter, it was also sort of parodying the. I don't know if you saw like the videos of like the churches and that saying Pokemon is the devil and things like that, because you're getting like little demons to fight each other, and that's sort of like sort of parodying that as well.
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're playing through the game and you're proving these real life situations wrong. Yeah, as well.
Yeah. I think. I just think the stigma around that story, though, I just don't understand it. I thought it was very smart, almost, and the ending of that story was fantastic too.
Yeah, I don't know what people think of it now, but I think people would have come back on the whole thing.
No,
with some time removed.
It's actually. At least in recent history, I've actually been seeing a lot of comments that there's like Gen 5 was the worst generation. I'm like, we live in the age right now where Gen 6 and Gen 7 exist, but I'm not going to go in there right now. But anyway, in my opinion, it had a stronger story than Diamond, Pearl, Platinum. It had better meaning, and that's how it was for me.
Yeah.
The games also didn't feel like as much as a grind as those games.
No, they sped it right up.
They sped it right up.
I think they're like one of the fastest moving Pokemon games.
Yeah.
As far as the battles, animations, and
yeah,
all that.
Absolutely.
Because they
and it looked really good too. Animated sprites. Oh boy, life coming to a Pokemon game. But in saying that, the end of that story moves on to Black 2, White 2. Now these are like, this was the first time we ever really got, like, outside of like a fucking Rattata and a Pidgey every now and then, that we got a full mix of all different types of generations of Pokemon in the wild. We weren't just restricted to, you know, whatever was brand new and spanking.
You get like a Riolu in the first route and stuff. Yeah,
and Mareep.
Yeah,
as well. You know, Gen 2 Pokemon. And I think this was a really important shift, because it's cool seeing new Pokemon. Don't get me wrong.
I think they did the right thing personally. Just having no old Pokemon in Black and White, having a complete dex full of new Pokemon. Was awesome. Yeah. Like, it felt like a completely new game. It was almost a reboot before you beat the Pokemon League, and you can go back and discover some older Pokemon.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic having the sequel. Like, going back to that, a sequel for Pokemon games. Mm-hmm. So like with Gen 1 to Gen 2, the story is continuing. You're seeing characters progress, become gym leaders.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing like new towns pop up.
Yeah.
And you're seeing it was awesome, and I thought this was going to be the way going forward for the rest of the Pokemon games.
Yeah.
Which turned out not to be true, which is very disappointing. But yeah, I think Black and White 2 are fantastic. I didn't go back to them for a while. I think I started it, and because the 3DS was out at this point.
So just about so close. Oh wait, no, it was out.
No,
shit, it was. Holy crap!
It was out for like a year or something.
Wow. Okay.
Because I remember we were just like,
why is it not on 3DS? Yeah,
because
I remember now.
Like, and obviously we knew what the answer was, which is they're making a Pokemon 3DS game, but you know, this is easier to make, just same engine.
In the meantime, yeah.
Which is what they've done recently with the Switch.
And yeah, I never talk shit on them about that ever again, because it was a damn good game.
It was a great game, yeah.
But the thing that makes it very conflicting for me in choosing my favourite Pokemon game, I think, is that that was the shift in wild Pokemon. It was something I felt like we needed in a game, so we had some more variety when we already had a massive variety to begin with. They didn't have to make 200 new Pokemon to make it brand new. They could have used like some of the old Pokemon, which by this point have new abilities, new moves to use, stuff like that.
Well, that's what they're doing now.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing with X and Y and what's it called?
Sun and Moon.
Sun and Moon, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, I did love it, though, how they just had a whole new Dex.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like, I liked it like that.
Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, the region was reshuffled. We explored it a different way. As you said, new towns. That was awesome. This is an if and but for me because the charm of Kanto and Johto was that they were two different regions, and they weren't melding way too much together. But there was not really a way you could do it with Unova, I guess, so it gets a little bit of a pass. But I think Johto was stronger in that aspect. The evil team for Black 2 and White 2 was strong.
Yeah.
Definitely. It was a strong point.
Well, they actually had inner conflict.
They had inner conflict. You know, people who were like, well, no, the point was to protect Pokemon. Then you got people that's like, nah, fuck them all.
Yeah, because the first Black and White games, you can look at it and be like, oh, it's a Peter thing. It's dumb. You can look at it that way.
Yeah, if you wanted to, yeah.
Yeah, but the second games, you can be like, you've got conflict between two sides of the same team, which have split off. Like, you know what they're like from the first game. Mm-hmm. Their leader's gone. They're trying... Yeah, very good.
Old Plasma's like the Peter that you once knew, but they're less aggressive now. And all they want to do is help abandon Pokemon and do the right thing. Whereas Neoplasma followed Ghetsis to the T. And so they continue to follow Ghetsis. And Ghetsis is an asshole. We all know this and whatever.
Yes, he is a mean man.
And that plot rounded off really nicely. It introduced us to a weird mechanic of fusing Pokemon together, which is not a foreign concept if you ever watch Digimon, but, you know, same thing. You introduce different things into the game, like the Pokemon World Tournament, where you could verse people from older games, which was
really cool.
Yeah,
and they have all the same music and everything.
Yeah. It was so cool.
Black and White had one of the best soundtracks because it had the music from the Kanto gym leaders, all the gym leaders, like all the themes, all the rival themes, all the Elite Four themes, all the champion themes.
It did, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll listen to that soundtrack a lot.
Yeah.
Just had it downloaded.
It's awesome. And then they, like, Cobalion, Terrakion, and Virizion, they got implemented in somehow that was not just they're out of the way somewhere. They kind of jumped in on your adventure, and people would just be like, whoa, it's Terrakion, you must be presenting yourself for a challenge, whatever. It was good to see them there somewhere that wasn't just out of the way, because... I think they kind of needed attention to bring to them, which they didn't really get in Black and White.
The trios usually don't, do they?
No, they don't. You know,
it's a shame.
Or stuff like even Cresselia didn't either. Cresselia was just like, oh, look, it's Cresselia.
Look, it's
Look, it's a moon Pokemon. And just overall, you know, you had the special areas to go to. You had the reward the first time the shiny charm came up, and the reward of going to that special place where you could catch a shiny Haxorus. You know, that was cool. It was good stuff. It was a game that was really rewarding just by...
It's really good having a reward for completing the Pokedex, because apart from that, you get nothing except for Emerald, where you can choose a Johto starter.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was so cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome back then, but... like the reward of the shiny charm is such a big deal nowadays.
Yeah,
like it is like the ultimate goal. You want that shiny charm if you want to go shiny hunting. You don't want to waste time, and
shiny hunting is so much fun too.
Oh yeah, it's got such a community too.
Yeah,
it's got such a YouTube community. It's crazy. And a Twitch community, I suppose. But yeah, I just think Black 2 and White 2 set up a lot that could have been used in the future to make what would be absolutely stellar games to follow. But we'll move into Gen 6.
X and Y.
And we'll talk about that.
Why do you sigh so much, Bruce?
Well, it was such an interesting thing to see it shift for 3D, and I can excuse them the first time, but I feel like they removed a lot of what was really great about the previous games and tried to do something new But there was also inherent problems with difficulty. Like we were talking earlier about how like some games were fast and some were just really sluggish. Fast doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't hard in some places. It depended on how you tackled it. But these games were just fast and easy.
Yeah. So
tell them your little story, please.
Yeah. So we played. Well, when this game came out, we all played it together. Probably 6 of us all together. And the first day, I put in 17 hours into.
Yeah, we all did.
X. And at that point, it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't go to bed because I was tired. I went to bed because I had to. I'm like, I was having so much fun with the new generation of Pokemon. It was really good. We played through it. I had an absolute blast playing through it. It was really easy, and when we got to the end, it was sort of like there's nothing to do.
Yeah,
like you can go, you can catch the Pokemon like you can any other Pokemon game, but there isn't anywhere to really grind a team, for example, to do competitive. So you're not going to be doing that. You've sort of done everything else. So there's literally, in my opinion, like someone who really loves the game, I might bring up a point like you can do like
you could do this, or
you can do like the battle. You can do the battle cafe once a day, and it's like, something like that. But there really wasn't anything to do. And coming off of what we're talking about with Gen 4 with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, where there's literally a whole other region to do. Pokemon Emerald, where there's the Battle Frontier. There was just nothing in this game to do.
No,
which sucked. So I bought both versions because I'm a sucker and I like having my
Pokemon collection up to date.
Yeah. So I said, all right, I'm going to go through the game with just a Pikachu. And to be fair, I did breed this Pikachu with the right nature. I made sure it had hidden power ice to get rid of ground types because I'll be fucked otherwise. And I fought out a Pikachu that would be able to hold its own.
Yeah.
To be fair, it wasn't just any Pikachu. But still, I just plowed through the game with a Pikachu.
Yeah. The only time you used any other Pokemon was for HM reasons. And that was it.
HMs, yeah.
Yeah.
And even then, like, I'd go through a cave or whatever I'm doing, get out the cave, put it away, do a gym battle, make sure nothing's with me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And you just got through it with no issue.
So
didn't matter if you had counters up against you, and we were watching you do it. That Pikachu was level 94 by the time you got to the end.
Yeah.
And you got through the Elite Four and everything with that Pikachu.
Yeah. And I was using a Lucky Egg when I'm not doing a big battle. Then when I'm doing a big battle, I put a Light Ball on, so it's double attack and special attack.
Yeah.
So, it was a very good Pikachu, to be fair, but still, I don't think it's like, as I said with the Swampert and that and Ruby and Sapphire, you can just play these games with one Pokemon.
Yeah.
A lot of the times, but
it doesn't. Yeah, I feel like it was almost too easy.
And actually, going back to just quickly back to Black and White 2, they introduced easy and hard mode in those games, but they were really convoluted to get. So
they were.
So you basically had to beat the game. In one game, you got easy. In one game, you got hard mode. And you basically had to do like a record. Is it a record swap or something?
Record swap, yeah.
Yeah, it's not called that, but essentially that's what it is. So then the other person can get either or whatever you have, but you can't choose that from the start. So what's the point of beating the game and putting hard on?
Yeah,
hard on. But yeah, what's the point of that? You want to beat? Why didn't they just go? You got easy, you got hard.
Yeah,
because on hard, gym leaders had a full team instead of 4, and they were stronger. And that sounds great. That sounds awesome. And I really wish even the most recent Pokemon games had that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it. When I say I want it hard, I also don't want a kid to be like myself back when I started, not being able to play the damn game. I just want a challenge for myself, just a bit more. Maybe some teams were a bit more thought out. So battle a bit stronger. But so X and Y was a letdown for me. Just lack of content. I don't know if that come from being 3D. Just the amount of work going to, I don't know, how much were there? 700 something Pokemon models. That's a lot of work, especially for a team that hasn't really had that much experience with 3D.
But they already made a bunch of them, and they put them in Pokédex 3D.
Yeah, well, I think that's why that app came about.
Yeah, it did. Because they were looking for a reason to get money while they were making all these assets.
Well, it was free, except for the national decks.
The national decks was the thing.
Because when that app came out on 3DS, it was like, oh, well, there's heaps of Pokemon models on this thing. Obviously, the next game's going to be 3D. That was really exciting.
Yeah.
But
it was good. But at the same time, the game just didn't really live up.
No, but the story was cool though. Like you had Team Flare. Team Flare, they're fairly forgettable, but then
they were really good. They were really good in the anime.
Yeah, they were too.
They were good in the anime.
Back to that point, yeah.
But they weren't very strong in the games. I don't know what happened.
He just wanted to blow up the world.
He just wanted to blow up the world. It didn't matter about anything else. There was no,
No. And the legendary, they were just like the power source. That was it.
Yeah, and we never got any relative information on what the hell the legendary was supposed to be.
No,
at all.
See, like with Groudon, Kyogre, like you know what they are, you know what they do, you know their place in the world, you know why they're important. I don't particularly know why. God, I've even forgotten their names.
Zekrom, Reshiram.
No, that's Gen.
Oh, you're talking about Gen 6. Sorry. Xerneas and Eviltile.
Yeah, that's one.
Yeah. I have no fucking idea why they exist.
Well, you got they're like the world tree, aren't they? Like they're the gods.
I think
that's what they're based on anyway.
Yeah, but
in the games it doesn't really portray that.
No,
no.
It doesn't say jack shit about them.
Because all legendary Pokemon, they're based on like myths and legends and that, and like when you do your research, you look into what they are. So that's fair enough. But in the games, it's just nothing there.
Yeah. No, it was really dry. I don't know how it got that. How it got like that. The only thing I ended up using those games for were shiny hunting purposes, and because the shiny hunting's not bad in it. Yeah, like in both those games, there's pretty good methods.
In the newer generations, they've put a lot more methods and they made it a bit easier, so it's not impossible to get shinies.
Yeah,
and just the features that it brought along with the 3DS, just online, like battling was inherently easier, way easier, because before you needed friend codes and that, and then you can just go online first anyone. It's a lot easier to do the trading. Like it brought the series forward. It just doesn't have the content.
No.
It didn't have the content to keep me interested.
No, it didn't. I used to spend 300 odd hours on Pokemon games, but those games were so empty. I spent 50 on them.
And considering just like how easy it is to battle people, like it would have been a no-brainer for me to be like, all right, I'm going to get a good team and verse people, but there just wasn't a sufficient way really to do it.
Yeah, no,
sucked.
Definitely was not. No.
So looking back on X and Y, I'm like, I really did enjoy them, but just there's no point for me playing through them again apart from the story because there's nothing at the end to sort of.
There isn't. There's zero. Yeah.
But going to the remakes of Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, they obviously big fan of Ruby and Sapphire. Like I said, I was waiting for these remakes for years and years and years.
Same way I was about Gen 2.
Yeah. So just absolutely stoked and.
They kind of fell flat.
They did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to say like X and Y fell flat. No way. Soaring was kind of cool, and finding the wormholes where the legendaries were and all that stuff was nice. But the lack of Battle Frontier, which was the shining gem of that generation, I think that needed to be there. And because it wasn't there,
I don't know why it wasn't there. Especially when you go to where the Battle Frontier is, and it's saying it's being built.
Yeah,
that's just a kick in the balls, guys. Like that just comes across to me as we're
too lazy.
It's either lazy or it's just there's no love there.
No, it was like, oh, we need to give them a canonical reason as to why there's no Battle Frontier in this game, otherwise they're going to but we just look at it and go anyway. We're just like, why is it not here?
And those games did do a lot of right things.
Yeah.
For like the Deoxys event, so Deoxys is available in the game as just a normal legendary.
The after story was really good.
Yeah, and like back in Ruby and Sapphire days, there was rumors like if you do this or that, if you take so many steps there, you go to the rocket every day, one day he might say, "All right, we're going to space," and you go to space and you and you catch Deoxys.
Yeah.
Not real, but in this game, you go into space and you battle Deoxys.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who went through all those rumors and that back in the day, actually having it in this game was awesome.
Yeah. And that whole sequence was epic.
Yeah.
And, you know, the history of the dragon tamers and stuff like that, that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was easily the greatest part of, like, that game. But at the same time, that is side story content, and that is, like, what every traditional reboot has had.
Yeah.
Whether it be Fire Red or Heart Gold Soul Silver, or, you know, they all had that in their own perspective and right. But after that, it's just like, what do I need purpose.
I actually had a lot to do. This was the first game I actually caught every single Pokemon in.
Yeah.
So I had a lot to do, and I had fun with shiny hunting, and if you want to train a team, it's got the secret bases. So secret bases, that's not that's the thing we haven't touched on. They're awesome.
Oh yeah, secret bases were great, especially in Gen 3.
Yeah. Well, in this, you can scan QR codes of places people have made.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a little island in the middle of the sea where it's just like a secret base cove, so it's just full of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into forums, you can get Blissey bases.
Yeah.
So the whole team of Blissies, which give you heaps of experience points, and they've got toxic orbs which poison them, and they've got no moves that can hurt you.
Yeah.
So if you go in there with a lucky egg, which you double that experience points, and you go in with like a level, you can go in with a level like level 20 or level 10, and because this thing won't hurt you and eventually die from poison.
And you just get an absurd amount of experience.
Yeah, you'll be able to get to level 100 in, I don't know, a few days, a week, because it's once a day, these battles.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you've
handy, yeah.
You've got places to train, and yeah. I really did like these games, but they did fall flat, not having that battle frontier. That was just... Well, it's not really that. There's no excuse for that.
The kick in the nuts was the problem.
Yeah,
it's going to the resort or whatever the fuck it was, where the daycare was, where everybody does their like egg farming, and then going to the top of it and just being like, "Look, this is the battle frontier. It's being constructed soon."
And everyone's like, "Oh, they're gonna make it. They're gonna do an update or DLC."
No, they did not. No, kicked us in the balls, because that was the most important part about Emerald.
I also felt the having such an emphasis, because in Gen 5 it was such a heavy emphasis on not Gen 5, Gen 6, sorry, heavy emphasis on Mega Evolution, which we didn't touch on at all actually.
Yeah.
And
while Mega Evolution,
that I think that idea was cool at first, but now it's kind of like I'm not a fan of it.
I don't know. I think Z moves are probably worse. I think Z moves are probably worse in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
But Mega Evolution is a cool way to introduce evolution to a Pokemon without making it
like actually different.
Yeah.
No, I agree with that too. But
the only thing is that like if you're going to introduce it, just don't keep it around for one generation and do fucking nothing with it, which is the problem with it. The inherent problem with it. They've dropped it. They're like, oh, now we're doing Z moves instead. Because every Pokemon can use a Z move then. And then it's like, yeah, I understand. So basically what you're saying to me is that you had this marvelous idea to introduce Mega Evolutions to Pokemon, but you don't want to make any more because that's development time that you don't want to waste and pay your employees for. So instead you're making universal moves for Pokemon.
That's a good point. Actually.
It's cutting budget. They don't want to spend the time developing that type of thing. They just... So Z moves are a thing. Because every Pokemon can use a Z move, as long as they've got the crystal to do it. And all it does is power up whatever move that is. You can Z Splash, for fuck's sake, and it gives you like, 5 attack up? Or some crap?
It was exciting when like a new Pokemon gets announced and it's got a Mega Evolution. So,
well, that's the other thing, is Alolan forms.
Oh, they're awesome.
Alolan forms are great.
We're not there yet, Bryce. We're not there yet.
Yeah, I know.
But
I just think I'm salty about. Mega Evolution was the primary point of advertisement for those games.
Absolutely.
And it just got shoved on its head like after that gen ended, and it sucked. It sucked really bad. I really do think it's just come down to it's going to cost us more time and money to develop these things when we could just do something more universal.
Yeah.
And it lived as it died, like at the end of that generation. I know that there was like some really broken crap, like Mega Kangaskhan was dumb. And they could have fixed that with time and in like the following generations. Just, yeah, I don't know. There was a way to make it work. They just didn't want to spend the time on it. That's all I got to say about it. For that being the main gimmick of those games, and then getting drop kicked like that, it was kind of crappy.
Like the last two generations, I think suffer of the same thing, where it's just lack of features and things to do. That's my main problem with them. Well, not necessarily features, because they've still got plenty of stuff in them. They've got plenty of dot points.
Well, let's talk about Gen 7 then, because I think we've already justified that in Gen 6.
Yeah.
So Gen 7, as it currently is...
Actually, sorry, Bryce. I'll bring up...
That's right, we've still got a bunch of these.
Yeah, we've still got a bunch of them. Oh, no. Sorry, go on. My phone's offline.
Oh, well, yeah, all right. So, I just want to iterate as a beginning type of thing while he's looking at his Twitter. That the current generation is Pokemon Sun, Pokemon Moon, and Pokemon Ultra Sun and Pokemon Ultra Moon. In the vein of what happened in the same sequence as Gen 5, where they had two games named after the same sort of series, and we explored what was similar lands. We assumed that it was going to be similar to what Gen 5 was, but it turns out that it wasn't. And these games kind of get on our goat, but we'll talk about them in a second. And
can I just jump in here? My phone's on 1%.
That's what I was going to say.
We've got Jamie. He's commented on on Twitter saying he's a memory. He's completing the Omega Ruby decks with all 722 Pokemon was a recent highlight. Tons of time spent on Pokemon Stadium 2, Coliseum, are great memories. The original Ruby I sunk in over 650 hours, but Heart Gold and the original Gold are still of my two favourite Pokemon games.
Very nice.
So he pretty much
nails it.
Yeah.
Nails it on the head.
Sorry, Bryce, you go on that.
I've got to put that down silently. I'm using a bongo drum as a table. Anyway, so this is difficult for us because this is a standpoint with Pokemon where we're it's kind of made us a little bit bleak for the future because this is the second generation I don't think we're that satisfied with.
No.
Our inherent problem, and I think I speak for both of us when we say it. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just saying, before we get into the negatives, let's talk about the positives.
Okay, the positives.
So this is the first generation where they're like, all right, we're going to shake things up. We're getting rid of gyms for a start, and we're putting trials in. So a different, still like a similar boss sort of element. You do puzzles before you get to an end thing, but it was nice to have something different. Whether it's better in the end, I don't know. It's kind of similar with Totem Pokemon, and eventually when you verse the trial captain, that is a gym leader.
Yeah.
But it was cool having like a boss Pokemon, because I always thought it'd be cool having, because legendaries, they're always typically your boss Pokemon, but you never actually try to beat them. You're trying to catch them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So having a Pokemon where you're actually trying to take down, and you've got a whole party of 6 onto this one behemoth,
and it got difficult. Mimikyu was hard.
Yeah,
which was challenging to be fair, and in its own right, it was absolutely. And I think Team Skull is probably one of the more memorable bad guys out there, even though they were more comedy than anything. Guzma's a good bad guy.
Yeah, pretty much.
They
weren't really the bad guys in the end.
They weren't in the end,
that
but
was the distraction.
They technically still were. It was just Lucamine. Lucamine went off a train and did her own thing. Guzma obviously helped her reach that goal, and that's how it was. They were still standing in your way. I think it was really cool that they'd had overrun an entire town and claimed it as their own, and you could go and visit that town.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. You could even buy yourself a Team Skull outfit from the thugs there for a bunch of money. It was great. I think they'll go down as some of the more memorable bad guys in Pokemon history.
You think?
I think so.
I've already sort of forgotten them, so I don't know.
Team Skull, really?
Yeah.
You don't remember like all the hand signs when they're fucking talking?
No. I remember them, but they're just sort of
and the music.
Yeah. It's good. No, they're fine. They're not Team Rocket, or they're not.
Well, they're not
Team Aqua or Magma.
I think that's what makes them so unique and memorable. I think that's the same for everyone. You see way more fan art and comics of Guzma than you would of any other team leader. You go look through your fucking Tumblrs or your Reddits.
Nah.
And I can guarantee you will hear more about Guzma than you will about any other Pokemon bad guy.
Yeah.
Because he's different and he's just a thug.
Yeah. They're even more thuggy than just Team Rocket. They're just
exactly
off the street.
And Team Rocket were thugs.
Yeah.
I think he's a fantastic. I think that was a fantastic way to do it, and it turned out that the Aether Foundation. By the way, this is all spoilers if you haven't played this shit, I guess. But anyway, Aether Foundation is the true bad guys. But to be honest, it's mostly just Lusamine. It's not really anyone else. They're kind of just there.
She's just the boss.
They have no motivation. Yeah. Like as a team, they have no motivation at all. Team Skull kind of did. They wanted to be respected, but the Aether Foundation didn't have a goal. Lusamine just wanted to catch the jellyfish. That was it.
Mm.
And in the process, she kicked her 2 kids in the face and said, "Get out of my house." Essentially, like, what was their motivation apart from catching the jellyfish?
The jellyfish.
That's what I'm going to call Nihilego.
The tentacle.
The magical girl tentacruel. There we go. There's no real motivation for those villains. I can't think of one. I think they're all just like, Lusamine wants to catch the jellyfish, so we're catching the jellyfish.
Yeah.
Can you think of it?
No, not really.
It's how forgettable it is.
That's what I mean. I've sort of already forgotten.
That's if they even had one. I'm usually pretty good at remembering at least plot lines, but I don't remember them having a goal apart from Lusamine wanting to catch a friggin' jellyfish. I can't.
Yeah.
They took Cosmog so they could get the gas. They used the gas to open a wormhole so they could get to the jellyfish.
And the other guys do, but yeah.
Which benefited nothing to anybody else but Lusamine. My hands are in the air at this point. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway,
it's a couple of years ago now. Because we haven't played the Ultra versions because... Yeah.
I'm sure they probably iterate more, but I just don't care.
Yeah. Shouldn't have to iterate more.
No.
With a brand new purchase.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But systems-wise, yes, Totems and Trials were fantastic, and Ultra Beasts were weird. Seeing the return of a couple of characters, in particular from a character from the...
Oh, you had Red and Blue coming back too.
Oh, yeah, then too. But from the Wormhole line, you had that ex-gym leader who came back as well, and... there was a lot to love in that respect, and I think it's a very a culturist game. Like it's like, the culture around these islands is big.
Well, it was based on Hawaii, so a lot of the culture and that is like at the forefront.
Yeah, exactly, and that's fantastic, and I think that's a lot of things, but. The issue is that despite these couple of things that are really positive, the way it was delivered is probably the worst way a Pokemon game has ever been delivered. And we'll go into the sequels. I'm not going to touch on it about them yet, but the sequels, the remakes, because for some reason they remake the game after a year now. Anyway,
The Ultra version, yeah.
They remade it after a year. God.
They're just pretty much remixes. So they've got the wormhole stuff at the end, and they've got a couple of different story beats. Yeah. But that's pretty much all.
I'm going to touch on that. I'm really going to touch on that because I've got something to say. That's really...
Oh, God. I'm going to let you go.
Okay.
Go for it.
Now, a general complaint with you, and you're going to iterate on this, is that nobody shuts the hell up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Every time you go somewhere new, nobody shuts up. There's always something to explain for them, and they always get in your way, and they always... whatever. So express your frustration on that for me. So, because this is your main argument point for most of it.
When I play Pokemon, like I said in a previous conversation, I like just exploring and discovering. But when every new route and every new town, they just yap, telling you really stuff that doesn't matter at all. It gets tiring. Like when I was playing the Ultra version, I was just pressing A, and I just gave up. I'm like, I don't care. You're saying the same things you said in the previous games for a start, and you just keep yapping and yapping and yapping. I was just sick of it.
You keep going and going. Don't shut up.
A bit like us with this podcast, I guess.
I guess, yeah, but at least we're not trying to guide them into a glorious adventure. They're actually here to listen.
I guess.
This was a major issue with the games, and it was really hard to just have fun on your own. Yeah. Unless you had the goofy team skull moments or something like that to keep you along, you got bored really quickly.
Yeah.
It was not savory. You wanted to put it down at the same time. You just wanted to get through it, and then you just but then I have to put up with dialogue boxes.
Especially the typical bits where it's like you go to the trainer school and they're just like,
"This is the trainer school."
Like, oh no, we're looking for this person. Go and find this person, please. Oh, look, it's this person. Hello, this. Like it just goes on. Like it goes on way too long every single town, and yeah. I want to get into what I want from a sequel. When we finish this conversation, we'll go to what we want in the Switch version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But,
I agree.
Do you have anything to add? Because once you finish these games, it's the same as X and Y. There's just nothing there.
There is zero there.
You catch the Ultra Beast. I've done that.
It suffers the very big inherent problem of hey, look, we're going to use this tiny bit of nostalgia to pull you in. With Red and Blue being there, and then you get to verse one of them, and then you climb the fucking tree, and you can verse more people that were reminiscent of the series throughout and stuff like that. But the battle tree just does not...
Were there any more characters than those two? I don't think there were.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I couldn't fucking tell you which ones because I just didn't care. But it got so infuriating because. Is there really an excuse for them to not add a battle frontier to each game? I don't care if it's just the battle frontier and it's similar to what it was in Emerald, but a battle tower or a battle tree every game, it does not justify an end game.
No, not at all.
No,
I've never cared about a battle tower.
It does not. No, there was only one time a battle tower was done really well, and that was in Black 2 and White 2 with the Black City or the White Forest. Because you actually got a fucking reward out of it, and it made you feel like... It may have been a mega reward, it was just a shiny, you can farm them yourselves, but it was still hey, look, I got a shiny for completing this thing. And I got it from fucking oldest son, Banger, or whatever his name is, I think it's Banger. But it was nothing. It was nothing. And then they announced Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, I'm like, well, maybe this is a sequel, because the ending left you... barren. Lily's going to Kanto to go help find a cure for her mother.
And that was a big disappointment too. She's... What I really either wanted from the post-game or the sequels or the second games was... She said she's going to Kanto. It's like, okay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So, are we going to get to Kanto? No, we're not. Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon come along, you're replaying the same story. You're not going to Kanto there either. And there's no post game anyway. I don't know. Let us, even if it was like go to the Kanto Battle Frontier. I don't know. But
No.
it's just something that so disappointing. Just with the lack of content in these games.
I wanted a continuation of Lily's fucking story.
Yeah.
Because it ended. It's just like I'm going to make a more confident person out of myself and help my mother find a cure. I'm going to go see Bill in Kanto. Whoa!
That story was only just starting.
It was, and they fucking cut it. And then they're just like, this is a new way to experience Sun and Moon. So what did they do? Oh, they changed how you got your starter Pokemon. That's about as far as we've gotten because we don't give a shit.
Mm.
I might go back and play them one day, but after my salt subsided, Jesus.
Salts.
And just...
Yeah. You can see like the point in the series where we've found ourselves really unhappy with how it's gone.
Yeah.
And I would like to like talk to someone at Game Freak, just be like, why has it happened like this? Has the increased development time and costs like
really hindered this much?
This? But I don't know how, like, in the scheme of Pokemon...
It's fucking Pokemon.
It is Pokemon. It's one of the top 10 biggest franchises...
In the world.
It's up there with anything.
It makes that much fucking money. How is there a resource problem or how is there anything like that?
Well, it's Nintendo's biggest series. Even though it's not 100% owned by them like Mario and Zelda is.
Yeah.
It's a juggernaut.
Yeah,
it's Nintendo's only pretty much anime, which has been running for 25 years.
Because it goes far beyond just games. Again, like you said, the anime, the plushies, the other toys that go alongside it. Fuck, they have promotions with like Burger King or whatever and shit like that. The brand goes even further. You've got PokeGo. Again, not owned by them, but at the same time, royalties.
Yeah, and even to the Pokemon company that goes back to Game Freak, like it's just that's what's frustrating about it. Just there is no excuse for not delivering on a fully fledged, exciting Pokemon game that you can put hours and hours into.
Exactly.
I don't think, especially now with Pokemon Bank, for example, I've got all the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
When a new game comes out and they say just catch them all, that is not a sticking point.
No,
because like you want to raise a good team to eventually overcome that hurdle and get a reward. But
absolutely.
They don't do that. They do the story now, and betting the Pokemon League is
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
like you can go and catch more Pokemon, and you can find a way to grind them and make them better, and you can go online and do that, but that's it.
But then their argument is like, oh, well, the end game of Pokemon, especially nowadays, like the end game of Pokemon is competitive battling, especially with how fucking big that's becoming now.
Mm.
But no, it's not. Not everything in this world is going so multiplayer to the point that we're playing Pokemon in a competitive battle scene every day, like we're playing fucking Call of Duty or something.
No way, no.
Hell no. We want to challenge inside the game itself because it's something we take with us. We're not always on the damn internet.
Hmm.
We want a reason to build competitive Pokemon other than just for sitting at home on my Wi-Fi trying to battle some hackers that have had their fucking shit in their Game Shark for the last 20 fucking months or whatever. I just it doesn't really. It's feeling less and less like Pokemon the more it's going on at the moment. That sucks.
Yeah. Let's move on from this onto what we want from the Switch version. So, last year at E3 they announced they're going to be making a game on Switch. So they're making a game right now.
Yep.
Don't know. It seems like it hasn't been in development long. At least compared to when we heard about XY and that. Like those games they're developed for about 4 years apparently. That's what they tell us. So my guess would be this has been in development nowhere near 4 years.
No, absolutely no.
So I just want to say, NATO, he replied
mm-hmm.
to our Twitter. He said, I said, when I say, what do you enjoy about Pokemon? He said, all of it. I can't wait to see where the Switch version goes.
Yeah.
So what concerns me about the Switch version, NATO, is just... if people, rumors are that Nintendo is really pushing Pokemon to come out on the Switch this year, because obviously they had Zelda and Mario last year.
They need something big this year.
Yeah, so Pokemon is it. So out of all the franchises they have Mario, which is huge. They have Zelda, which actually isn't that big, but to hardcore gamers it is. Mm-hmm. Breath of the Wild's changing that, I think, with the sales that's making.
Yeah.
And then there's Pokemon, which just it'll sweep the floor wherever it is.
Yeah.
So if that comes out this year, all of the problems we have with the series
are going to be retained.
No, they're not going to, especially if like making it look pretty and run on Switch and giving it features, and that's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah. Let
alone being like, hey, that's even if they're like, hey, let's do some really cool post game content. So they double the content. They do put another region in, for example, and they do say the Battle Frontier was a great challenge. Let's think of something different. And like all this stuff's going to take time, and I'm more than happy to wait 3 years longer for that game, which I love and I play for hours and hours and hours.
To be a fantastic piece of work.
Mm. But just after the last 2 generations on 3DS, I got no faith.
No,
which sucks because as I've been talking for the last 2 hours, I love Pokemon. Pokemon is my favorite franchise.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm here talking onto a microphone, because I love Pokemon.
We both do.
Yeah,
we've loved it since we're children. I'm not saying it's probably not my favorite series, but it's been with me for just as long as it has with Mario and Zelda.
Mm.
So
I got into Mario and Zelda because of Pokemon.
Exactly, because you learn about Nintendo, and that's how it went from. And I've never not once kept up with Pokemon news. I've never not once played a generation Pokemon. I've always invested time in every single Pokemon game that's come out. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon is the only time I've ever felt like I don't want to.
Mm.
That's garbage to feel like that. I've been playing this shit since I was 5. This is I don't know. It's the Switch version scares me a little because I want it to be so good.
Mm. It's going to be the first Game Freak made console Pokemon game.
Yeah.
So you're going to have it. You're going to have the benefits of, like, I think this is going to be the game that benefits almost the most from the Switch, just having it look fantastic on the TV, and then you've also got the wireless connectivity of taking it with you.
Yeah.
Like all the benefits it had on a handheld, which the Switch is obviously pretty much a handheld as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm worried.
Yeah. It's hard not to worry.
As we talked about Metroid Prime 4 last week, that it's being developed by Bandai Namco. We're not worried about that at all. Well, cool, new team, new whatever. That's going to be great. But
Bandai Namco have a good history with handling franchise as well.
Mm.
And you would think you'd be able to say that about the same people that have been making Pokemon for so many years.
Mm.
But it's getting worse.
The director has changed though from the 3DS games. So
I don't care.
Well, that's probably part why of the direction of the Pokemon games is sort of waned.
Maybe they should fucking fire him. I don't know.
So what do you want in a Switch version?
I want content. Holy shit. We've had no content. It's like we've had goofiness and silliness in Sun and Moon to sort of tide us over. X and Y was so bland. It was so bland.
Mm.
Fucking Sun and Moon, when you take away all the like culturistic type of shit going on in the background, you've got a villain that doesn't know, like an evil organization in the Aether Foundation that doesn't know what the hell it's doing. You've got a really good set of bad guys that get a plenty of screen time and are probably the only good part about the game, which is fantastic. The end of the game, you still got a fucking Pokemon League, despite the fact they're like, no, we're breaking away from that meta. They didn't break away from that meta. We still got a fucking Pokemon League. And it was all trial captains that would verse before, except for the one.
Yeah, that just, in the first games, just went
fucking golfing.
Went golfing and... No, it wasn't the golfing one. It was the dragon one. You versed the golf person, didn't you?
Was it? Oh,
yeah.
I can't fucking remember anymore.
You went there and she said something along the lines of she's busy or lazy, so she just gives you the thing. But in this one, you verse her. It's like, cool. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We have talked about those. So
but my point is that the content is bare or it's not flavorful. I want to see flavorful content. I want to see end game. I want to see a reason to keep playing. That's what I want to see. But if they don't fucking give me that, I'm gonna be.
See, I don't even care about new Pokemon.
No, neither. We've got 800 and fucking how many? 800 and I can't even remember the couple of digits.
So
yeah.
this is my dream game. So it's called Pokemon Red 2 and Blue 2. So it's a sequel to the original Red and Blue. They can call it a new generation if they like. I don't care about new Pokemon at this stage. Just really refine the ones they've got, rebalance them.
Yeah.
So you've got a continuation of the story. You've got characters coming back. You might even bump whether it follows Lily or you bump into Lily or whatever it might be. That would be cool. But just see how the Pokemon games have sort of progressed as they've gone. Maybe even do it so you can go to different regions as well.
Yeah.
Could even be like a globe-trotting game.
It could be.
I don't know, and once you finish the story, have things to do. So you've got something like the Battle Frontier, which you're aiming to beat. You've got you have your Pokédex there, which you're looking to fill and get rare Pokemon. Maybe even introduce I don't know, maybe forms of Pokemon that are hard to get. So it really gets into that collection aspect.
Yeah.
Which they do too with different genders and different forms already.
They do, yeah, but yeah, anyway.
Maybe refine it so the way you actually want them.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that, but
yeah.
Yeah, I just want things to do. And with the Switch, maybe even do events once a month. Maybe introduce something like what Splatoon does with Splatfest. Maybe try and do an island's been discovered. You can go there and you've got 8 people to beat or something. Something like that, which is temporary events.
Yeah.
Which pop up.
Yeah.
I would love to see stuff like that.
Or you go to this island and you see how much X of a Pokemon you can catch in a certain amount of time, and it adds to a total team scoreboard.
Well, they actually do that with
They
Sun
do
and Moon.
that, but I'd like to see that with a unique area that they put out every now and then instead of just
yeah, and an event.
Yeah. And give us a reason to participate in the event. The Pokemon could have hidden abilities, possibly have hidden abilities or something. A reason to participate instead of just well, looks like you guys didn't meet the margin goals, so you're not getting your reward, because nobody wants to fucking catch a million grass type Pokemon just because a game tells them to.
Up shiny rates or something, who knows?
Yeah, up shiny rates, give us a reason. Up shiny rates, give them hidden abilities, give them egg moves, something that people don't really fucking bother with generally, and make it rewardable. It's yeah, I don't know.
I love Pokemon, Bros.
I love Pokemon too. I just want to see it succeed, and it's not succeeding.
It's succeeding. It's just not meeting expectations.
Not in.
So that's the problem. The sales aren't dipping.
Everything else about Pokemon is succeeding, in my opinion. The games aren't. Well, no, because people are still gonna buy the games out of fucking pure fandom.
So it'll be interesting at E3 see if E3 2018 whether these games do get announced for this year.
Please don't.
Because if they do, and I think we'll have some interesting things to say about it. Especially for cause you can't tell until you play them either. So they can show some cool Mega Evolutions and that the evil team does this and you can go do this. But at the end of the day, once you play it and you get to the end, you don't know.
Look, I just want their PR team to be responsive, because I think that's the biggest issue. I think there are a lot of people complaining about how there was lack of content in Sun and Moon and shit like that, but they went and made a fucking sequel anyway with still lack of content.
I really wish they kept doing the
black-white method, yeah
with the sequels. I don't know why they didn't, to be honest, because that's a little bit more of work than just inserting little different snippets.
Because
that's what it seems like anyway.
They're dumb, and it's just money, surely.
All right, Bryce, let's end the show there. Bit of a low note, I guess.
I think moral of the story of this is that, Pokemon is such a beloved series, I think. And I think at the moment, with it being in the position it is, I think it's more upsetting to us who adore the series. It's not about Pokemon's going to die next Tuesday. It's about just...
No way, no.
we want to see it make a comeback in a big way on the Switch.
Absolutely, yeah.
I want it to see it have its redemption story, because I just feel like that Sun and Moon don't justify a price tag. And neither did X and Y, really. For games that I used to spend way over 300 hours on sometimes, and then I've only come down to spending about 50 hours on the new last 2 generations. It's not in a good place, but I'm hoping to see the rebound, because it is a series I cherish. It is a series you cherish. It is a series that we all cherish. And I think that's the hard point, is we love Pokemon and we're still willing to be here through this hard time.
We're still irresponsible with our money.
Yeah, we're still irresponsible with our money. You're right. My bad. Anyway, continue, my friend.
Yes. So we'll keep you up to date with what we think on the Pokemon games when it gets announced for Switch.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's good.
I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening to our longest episode of the show yet. We're up to 2 hours and 16 minutes. So,
oh boy,
shit, that's a long episode.
Yeah.
If you haven't made it to this point, we kind of understand.
It's like double the time a usual episode. Holy shit!
But before we do go, I want to read Dylan Blight's Twitter before we tweet off.
Tweet, tot.
If I don't run out of battery, I'm on literally 1%.
Hurry up, boy.
So, Dylan Blight said his favourite Pokemon memory is Pokemon Silver, sitting on the opposite bench with a 2-meter link cable, doing battles, meeting someone who had Mew and basically begging them to copy it, copy it with the glitch and trade it to me, completing my Pokedex for a certificate I couldn't print because I didn't have a Game Boy printer.
Yeah. Oh. Remember when that was the thing, the Game Boy printer and printing that certificate?
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was cool, but...
kind of, I guess.
How many people bought the Game Boy printer?
Not many.
Yeah, not many people. I knew one person with it. Just one.
Alright, let's get through this relatively quick. You can find me at iDrewby on Twitter. You can find Bryce at BryceDeWitt on Twitter. And you can find the House of Mario at the House of Mario. Please follow us there. We've just recently hit 109 people, which is awesome. Thank you very much to everyone who's done that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
We get feedback there. We post our episodes there. And we also put out questions there, which we read on the show, like we unorganizedly did here. And we've got Discord as well, which we do the same thing in. Jump in there, have a chat with some Nintendo fans and ourselves.
Of course.
And please, if you have the time, leave us an iTunes review.
Yes.
It's very much appreciated.
This is important.
Apparently.
Very important.
And I'd like to give a shout out to John O'Peck this week for his podcast, Putting in Work. Yeah, this week he had Colin Moriarty, who's one of my favourite podcasters, and I've been following him since his IGN days to Kind of Funny, now to Colin's Last Stand. And he had an hour-long interview with him, and it was just fantastic. He asked the right questions, and yeah, if you're a fan of Colin's, it's a must-listen. And if you have no idea who Colin Moriarty is, he's a very well-spoken, intelligent man, and I think you'll still get a kick out of it. So go and have a look, put in work. You'll be able to find everything we've just mentioned in the show notes.
Jono put in work this week.
Jono definitely put in work this week.
Go Jono.
And congratulations, congratulations to him for
hell yeah,
having the most listened to episode of his podcast.
You blew up this week, dude, and I have to congratulate you.
Yeah, awesome stuff, man. All right, Nintendo Jukebox this week is the Pokemon theme. It's a cover by Mr. Williams. I forgot his first name because I haven't got it. I've got it on my computer. But enjoy, and thank you very much for sticking through us this episode. It's been a long one, and we'll see you next week, and have a good one.
Yeah, see you guys.
I wanna be the very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test. To train them is my call. travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, a heart so true. Our courage we're boundless through. You teach me and I teach you. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Yeah. Every challenge along the way, with courage I will face. I will battle every day to claim my rightful place. Come with me, the time is right. There's no better team. Arm in arm, we'll win the fight. It's always been our dream. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, it's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em, a heart so true. Our courage we're boundless through. You teach me and I teach you. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Yeah.
Well, you're picking on my tubes, ziggly puffs in the building cause I'm sleeping on you dudes. For 7 generations I've been leaking all the news and I'll sink your ship. Have you sleeping with the cools and cruels? I refuse to lose, I'm a champion here. I'm a grunt big boy going ham in here. Fire lose you in like a chandelier cause you know I snap when the camera's here. Call me Charizard by the way that I blast, cause the brain is so bad it'll turn you to ash. Are you catching what I'm saying? Am I moving too fast? Bet you're fishing and you're wishing and I'm getting my cash. Yeah, I'm eating now, I'm defeating now. I'm a grind for about 20 seasons now. You elite, have a seat, can't you see that I'm wild and need to cheat when the goal leaves? Well, I'm seeking now. Instincts are mystic, so I go ballistic. Cold spit this once I got dipped in missing. My dish is wicked, yeah, hit you then in my stick. Offensive, get your fist all twisted. Have you all looking stuck like a lick this beat? All you rappers feeling drained, I kiss this beat. Make a kick this beat, fine with this beat. Someone send me the line cause I rip this beat. I'm the new wave of that paralysis. I'm a one-man band, good luck trying to balance this. Can't you see that I'm running from A to Z? If you asking why to build my calluses, now I got your respect. I'm sorry for the damage that I had to reflect. Next time you wanna battle, just to put me in check. All you Mr. Mind Clowns, take time to reflect.
Pokemon.